Remember, Barmby was injured on Super Sunday a week ago against Southampton. So Spurs will line up like this. This is what the Spurs lineup looks like. And it's the team, in fact, that started against Southampton a week ago. Barmby back at number 8. Remember, he scored there. Wimbledon will also have to watch out for Teddy Sheringham. Andy Gray goes back to being substitute. He played against Everton in midweek. On to Wimbledon now. And they make 2 changes from the side that defeated Arsenal in midweek. At number 4, Vinnie Jones is back after suspension. And Brian McAllister comes back at number 6. For Wimbledon, the danger men, Fashanu and Holdsworth, I suppose, the 2 men up front. Well, we've got a great atmosphere building up. We're expecting something like a full house. Should be a cracking London derby. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Nick. Well, Spurs have got the team that they wanted to name, Clive. That's important for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think young Barmby, obviously in good form, and he's very important to them, and I think he's playing well off for Sheringham. Sheringham's finding the net again, which has been lacking earlier on in the season. He's got Tottenham moving again up the league, and I think they'll be happy with the side they've been able to put out today.
Why have Wimbledon changed it, Laurie? Vinnie Jones presumably won. What about Brian McAllister?
Yeah, Brian McAllister's left-footed centre-half. He's obviously coming in to add a little bit more height into the back four. To be fair, the 2 lads that played at Arsenal in midweek, Peter Fear and Scott Fitzgerald, did superb jobs, but I think they perhaps realised that they're going to bring in Vinnie and Brian McAllister for this game. I mean, strong team.
Let's have a look at 1 or 2 of the players. Dean Holdsworth, first of all, who's in a rich vein of form right now, Laurie, isn't he? Everything he strikes in front of goal appears to go in. That's nice.
Yeah, was disappointed against Aston Villa because he missed the 5th penalty, which he thought, I think at the time, might have cost us, but we went on to obviously go through. But since then, he's scored the 2 winning goals against Leeds and Arsenal, so his confidence is sky high again.
Doing now the job that he was brought to do, score goals. Now, you were just talking about Nicky Barmby, Clive. There he is. We thought he was badly injured last week. Not so, and back. This is an exciting young talent, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I was talking with Terry Venables recently, and he said he didn't want to get too carried away about this young lad, but he was talking in terms of Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle, and I think, you know, to put someone so young in that sort of category is incredible, really. And I know a lot of Spurs' future hinges on this young man.
That's high praise indeed, isn't it? Nicky Barmby, who plays today.
He actually came on in the live game, I think, earlier in the season for Spurs and really G'd them up.
But that's right, he came on as a sub against Wimbledon and scored, didn't he? That's right, absolutely right. Teddy Sheringham there, Clive, is, again, like Dean Holdsworth now. He's found his touch again in front of goal, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's like many strikers. He had a lean spell. He needed that 1 goal, and the 1 goal led to 4 or 5, and that's exactly what he's done in the last few games. And he's not only been scoring ones, he's been scoring braces, which has been good for the club. And you know, I'm sure, knowing Teddy, he will be delighted with that. It's exactly what he needed. It's taken a lot of pressure off him, and he'll feel happy with himself and confident of scoring.
Vinnie Jones. Has everything been said about Vinnie Jones, or is there more yet to come, Laurie?
Everybody's got their opinion of Vinnie. I mean, to be fair, he is an honest, hard-working midfield player, and important to have him in the middle of the side there with Robbie Earl. I mean, a good, strong combination. It'll be interesting in the midfield battle today, I think.
He'll be relishing this one, won't he?
He'll love it, Vinnie. A lot's been said in the papers this week by certain people, and he's come out and had his say, but now talking's got to be done on the field, and I think, you know, he'll be doing it this afternoon.
I played with Vinnie at Chelsea, and he's good to have in your side. Don't worry about that, whether people think he's a good player or not.
Great into years, hasn't he?
Incredible, incredible. His attitude to the game is phenomenal, it really is.
One of his big buddies is Gazza, of course, who's been on the phone to wish Tottenham all the very best for this one. There's your cousin, Paul Allen.
Yes, that's right. I think Paul's done a tremendous job for Tottenham. You know, I'm not just saying it because he's one of the family, but I think at times he's very underrated, and he's one of those players that I think is penciled in first on the team sheet every week. He made many goals for Lineker last year. He made many for myself when I played there, and I think at times he's overlooked as the contribution that he makes to the team.
Vastly underrated, I think. Other players that play against them realise that he's one of their top players.
OK, Spurs and Wimbledon live on Sky Sports. It's our FA Cup 5th round tie coming up from White Hart Lane. 11:30 kick-off. Next, we'll be looking at the story so far. Welcome back, live FA Cup football on Sky Sports this afternoon from White Hart Lane, Spurs against Wimbledon. Not too far around the M25 if you're a Wimbledon supporter.
Am I on?
Yep, you're on. And that's what it looks like inside White Hart Lane. We kick off at 12:30. Match referee today is Martin Bodnam, and he's with Nick Collins.
Does a fifth-round FA Cup tie between two London teams, when one of them is as combative as Wimbledon, present any problems for a referee?
A referee doesn't go and prejudge a game. Fifth round of the Cup is always a very competitive game, and I'm expecting that this morning.
Do you enjoy these kind of occasions when it gets to the latter stages of the FA Cup?
Yes, I think, and certainly London derbies as well. You know, there's just that little bit extra. And, of course, they're playing for a lot of money and a lot of pride at stake.
Now, of course, you're based in Cornwall. Does the travelling ever cause any problems?
Not really, no. During the summer, problem with traffic, of course, but you have to prepare, you know, as you do for all games.
And finally, Martin, what kind of a game are you expecting?
I'm expecting a particularly hard game, being a London derby, but I'm certainly looking forward to it.
That's how it turned out when we saw the live league match at Selhurst Park a little earlier in the season. 1-1 finished on the day. What do you remember about this, Laurie Sanchez? Terry Gibson gave you the lead, didn't he?
Yeah, it's there's a collision with the keeper here. Steve Cottrell bobbles it across the goal and Terry Gibson slides it in at the far post. Ex-Tottenham man, so he's well happy with that one.
One or two complaints about Fashionu's challenge.
There was at the time. I mean, centre-forwards have got to go for the ball. I mean, the ball was there to be had. Unfortunately, the goalkeeper's hurt himself there. I think he had to go off, didn't he, at the time? Big Eric comes on. I think he's still in the team, isn't he? Be playing today.
It was a tough encounter, wasn't it? There was a
Great goal from
bad feeling.
Barnby here. He came on in the second half and he really livened Tottenham up. And that's a great cross from Sheringham, I think it was, is it? And a great header.
Yeah, and if you had the better of the first, which you did, they certainly did the second half. They proved they can dig in and
yeah,
tackle if they have to.
The difference was they brought Barnby on and he livened up the forwards tremendously. And as I say, he scored a great goal at the end there.
Well, this is the FA Cup story of these two teams so far.
And number 60, BS Rugby or Marlow.
Number 39.
That's Tottenham Hotspur.
For the best part, it's just going to be a blowout. I can't see it really developing any other way.
As it turned out, Spurs hosted Marlow's big day out at the start of their FA Cup campaign. There was only going to be one outcome. Spurs coasted. Vinnie Samway scoring twice. So too did young Nicky Barmby. Norwich provided a sterner test in the fourth round. Spurs dominated the game. The Canaries struggled to end their goal drought, coincided with Teddy Sheringham's return to goal-scoring form. This time he got two. Wimbledon have reached the fifth round the hard way against Premier League opposition.
Number 43, Wimbledon.
Number 14.
Will play Everton.
They were held to a goalless draw by Everton at home in the third round, but in the replay, first John Fashanu, and then Robbie Earle scored to settle the tie. The Dons travelled to Villa Park in round 4. Dwight York scored early on for Villa. But Wimbledon fought back, and Elkins, with a little help from Nigel Spink, cracked the equaliser. So it was back to Selhurst Park. 120 minutes of goalless action led to penalties, and then it was sudden death. Roger Joseph scored for the Dons, which meant that Kevin Richardson had to reply for Aston Villa. He thumped his shot over. Wimbledon were through to meet Spurs in the fifth round. Sam Hammam's delight with his team's recent form was fairly obvious. There was a cuddle for almost everybody. But there'll be no love lost on this St Valentine's Day between two of the Premier League's toughest characters. 12:30 it kicks off, so we're close. Spurs against Wimbledon live here on Sky Sports. We've been out and about outside the ground, and this is what they're saying.
The match, I think Spurs will win. I think Dean Holtz will get a hat-trick, and Spurs will get it be 4-3. Dean Holtz will score 3 goals, and Spurs will get 4.
I think if we blitz them and get an early goal in, should be Tottenham's game. I'll let them 2-0.
Yeah, I think Spurs will win 2-0 because I think defensive-wise they're too good to let Wimbledon get a goal. And I think really today one of the most important things is it all depends on a good referee, because he's got to watch some of the players. It's going to be a hard game, everybody knows that, and I think they're expecting it. But if they can keep them under control referee-wise, I think Spurs will win it easy. I'd like to see Ted get more than 2 for a change.
Yeah, I agree with that. I reckon he should get more than 2, but I reckon it'll be 2-0.
Who would you like them to join the next round?
Anyone but Arsenal.
Well, I've got to be a Don supporter, so I've got to say the Dons are going to come through for this round, definitely. In their present form, there's no two ways about it. I think they're going to come through on this one. They consolidate, and they might just have a draw, in which case, if it goes back to Selhurst Park, I think they'll win.
I think there might be a draw. When we go back to Selhurst Park and take the victory like we've done every round so far, we've gone and drawn and we've won. And hopefully we get a good time the next round.
I think we're going to lose today, because we're just doing too well recently.
Oh, well, a draw for most Don supporters, and I think that was a Spurs fan we spoke to last who thinks his team will lose today. We'll find out very shortly. Our live FA Cup 5th round tie comes from White Hart Lane. It's Tottenham Hotspur against Wimbledon, kicking off at 12:30. All the action comes next. Welcome back. White Hart Lane, Spurs against Wimbledon, live on Sky Sports this afternoon from the FA Cup 5th round. Only one previous cup meeting. Spurs won it in 1987 in the 6th round. The odds, 6-5 Spurs. How about Wimbledon at 9-4, 15-8 the draw. First to score, Teddy Sheringham, 6-1. Fashanu, Barmby and Holdsworth at 7-1. 10-1, Earl and Samways. Don't forget, later this evening, 6:30, 6th round draw, live. Must join us for that. Monday Night Football Extra coming up on Wednesday. England against San Marino. That's live as well from Wembley Stadium, of course. England need goals against San Marino. Clive Allen, you're obviously on Spurs. What do you think?
Yes, it's going to be whether Wimbledon obviously can stop Spurs playing the type of game that they want to. They're good at doing that, and that's going to be the problem for Tottenham, I think. But I do fancy Tottenham. I think they've got to win it today. They won't want to go back to Wimbledon. If I have to put my head on the block, I'll go 2-0 Tottenham.
Fair enough. Laurie?
Well, I mean, this defence over the last 2 months at Wimbledon has been superb. I think they've kept 8 clean sheets out of 11 games. I mean, John Scales being prominent in that back four. I can't see Tottenham scoring today. It's a matter of whether Fash and Dino can get one up front or not. I'm going for a draw. We've drawn all our games so far and won them on the second, so I'm going for a draw today and to beat them back at Selhurst.
You haven't been, as you say, conceding goals. You have been pinching the odd goal here and there. Highbury against Leeds United, of course.
Yes, as I say, Dean Holdsworth's nicked 2 goals in the last 2 games and got 6 points. As I say, if you've got a solid defence that's keeping you clean sheets, you've only got to nick 1 goal and, 3 easy points.
If Spurs lost the earlier psychological battle, Clive, I mean, they walk out into a stadium like that, 90% presumably share of the support in there. It's a fabulous stage on which to play, isn't it?
Oh, it's tremendous, and no better place than on a FA Cup tie day at Tottenham. Obviously, traditions of the club. It means so much to the club, and the atmosphere there will be electric. I think the confrontation between Neil Ruddock and John Fashanu could be a major factor in the game today. Whether Fash can upset him or whether Razor Ruddock, as his nickname, can can contain Fash.
He used to clean Fashion his boots, of course, when they were together at Millwall, didn't he? Razor Ruddock.
That's
Fashion,
right.
who was the senior pro. Good afternoon, said Gary Mabbott. Dressing room scenes in there, Laurie, you're very familiar with, of course. What's happening?
Yeah, White Hart Lane, to be fair, is one of our favourite away grounds. I mean, you say about it being all 90% Spurs sports, that'll help our lads. I mean, our lads love playing at big grounds, and you've got to remember we played the semi-final there against Luton in '88 and won there, so it's got good memories for us. People like Fashion, Vinny and John Scales who were there then will be telling the rest of the lads what it's like, and, you know, whoever wins today has a serious chance of going all the way to Wembley.
And are Wimbledon beginning to think that might happen again?
I think it happens after this round. You get through this round, you suddenly think it's going to be our year. The trouble is, you look too far ahead, you get tripped over on this in this round, and you go out, and then it's another season down the drain. They've got to keep their minds on the game today and get through today, or in the replays, I think it will be.
Well, it looks fabulous, doesn't it? Let's go to White Hart Lane and join our match commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
An all-London affair in the context of the FA Cup. Tottenham Hotspur, aristocrats in this competition, with their record number of wins and their tradition for touch play. Wimbledon, working class in comparison, but with first-hand experience that the FA Cup rewards the brave, whatever their background. Well, Tottenham are able to revert to the team which started last Sunday against Southampton. David Howells and Nick Barmby both making light of their injuries. It was against Wimbledon in October that Gary Mabbott made his first appearance of the season. Dean Austin regained the right-back spot, and Eric Torsvet came on during the game for the injured Ian Walker. All three have played every match since then, helping to stabilise the setup.
Same 11, Martin, and I don't think there'll be any change in formation at all. On that formation, you see Teddy Sheringham alone up front, but watch for number 8, Barmby, and number 4, Vinnie Samways, joining him at every opportunity.
Joe Kinnear waited until he arrived at White Hart Lane before deciding who would partner John Scales in the centre of Wimbledon's defence. With Dean Blackwell injured, the job goes to Brian McAllister. Vinnie Jones has finished his third suspension of the season to return in midfield. Dean Holsworth is starting to produce in the Premier League, winning goals last week against Leeds and Arsenal.
And Joe Kinnear's formation, I'm sure, will be a 4-4-2. You mentioned Dean Holsworth. Big emphasis on his contribution along with John Fashion, but just keep your eye on number 8, Robbie Earle. His running from midfield could be crucial. And if you're looking for a clash today, and how about this one? Teddy Sheringham there, 6 goals in his last 5 games for Spurs. If Wimbledon are going to succeed today, then a man regarded as probably one of the best uncapped centre-halves in the country, John Scales.
Robbie Earle just masking Martin Bodnam, the referee, who goes to Japan in May to help the referees there in the new league, in which Gary Lineker will take part. Gary Lineker, usually so diplomatic, has fanned the flames about this time. His criticism of Wimbledon hasn't gone down well south of the river. Joe Kinnear spent 12 years as a player with Tottenham, and his roommate on many an away trip during that time was Terry Venables. Well, the hour or so before the kick-off here has been absolutely extraordinary. Spurs trying to invoke this ground rule, no music in the dressing room, and really trying to steal a march on Wimbledon to interrupt their preparation. I have to say that Wimbledon won that battle hands down. Whether they'll win the cup tie remains to be seen.
Well, let me just say, it's one of the best hours I've spent pre-game in a long, long time, Martin. It was like a soap opera in that tunnel, it really was. And I think if the game had started then, it'd be fair to say Wimbledon are 1-up.
Well, Wimbledon's slender resources always grant them the status of underdogs, so championed by their owner Sam Haman. But on current form, they certainly come here with an even chance. Only 1 defeat in 11 games. Tottenham can point to 3 straight wins. A run in which they've scored 9 goals, with Teddy Sheringham very much to the fore. Here he is. McAllister standing his ground. Gary Elkins, the left back, going in. And
Anderton, it's opened up for him. Just a little earnest, a little too eager. Later in the game, he might have taken that on a stride or two. There was space.
I think you're right, and it's John Scales is crucial. He steps away to the left to cover Nicky Barmby, and the space opened up for Darren Anderton. But I think the chance a little bit early in the game.
Fashanu. Headed on by Jones. Neil Ruddock, who first played for Tottenham in the senior side against Wimbledon in that only previous FA Cup meeting between the two clubs back in 1987. He came on as a substitute there at Plough Lane. Tottenham winners by 2 goals to 0 in the days of Hoddle and Waddle. It's come off Roger Joseph, who's trying to prevent a corner here against Justin Edinburgh. As Joseph tracked back then, Paul Allen dropped to the ground. A minimum of inconvenience, though.
Yeah, he just gets caught a little bit, doesn't he, with Roger Joseph? But listening to Clive Allen back in the studio, man, I had to agree with him in the case when he said it was the game could all hinge on how well Wimbledon can spoil it. And by that, I mean how well they can stop Tottenham slipping into a passing type of game. If they can do that well enough, their chances are a lot greater.
I think it's fair to say, on a day dedicated to romance, there won't be too much love lost here.
Not after what went on in that tunnel area, that's for sure.
Here's McAllister. And there was a collision in the centre there, and it was between Jones and Fashanu, which I'm sure wasn't planned. Then he ran into his old pal. They both withstood the collision well enough. They're built for that. Allen tucking in from the left. 7 is Howell, Samways. And yeah, Jones trying to keep him in his sights. Allen lost the ball.
That's going to be the difference that you saw there. With Tottenham trying to pass the ball around, play their way in, drop back to Roger Joseph there. His immediate thought was get it forward to Fashion Holdsworth as quickly as possible.
I think it's fair to point out, Andy, that it's more than just kick and chase. It's a defined way of playing for Wimbledon into areas. They scrap for the knockdowns. They play the percentages. But they're having to defend here. Edinburgh trying the early cross. Samways was lucky to stay out of the way of that. Jones trying to slide it through to where Neil Ardley had made a run through the middle. He's got Austin outside him. Sheringham finding Austin. Anderton went down, the referee playing the advantage. And Sheringham trying to smuggle it beyond Scales.
It's a good sweeping move though from Tottenham, wasn't it? Gary Mabbutt, who started it, actually kept his run going and ended up in a real goal-scoring position. There you see him right in the middle of your picture, the skipper making his way back now.
Jones. A terrific pass with the outside of the right foot. Ardley, no one at the far post. Fashanu had come to the near side. Ardley had either not seen him or not put the ball exactly where he was aiming for. I'm sure he was trying to dink it to that far side there. But both Holdsworth and Fashanu had gone to the same area. One of Wimbledon's weapons in attack, the long throw from Jones.
I'm just going to say, there's no danger where this is going to end up, this throw, is there?
Jones plants it back in again. Once more Tottenham having to defend the second ball and defending it well enough. Well, John Fashanu loves the big occasion, a natural performer. claiming that it went out off the Wimbledon player.
I think he was absolutely right as well. Dean Holdsworth was the last touch on it. But referee was unsighted, didn't get any help from his linesman.
And certainly where the heart was in the fifth round ties yesterday. And Wimbledon noting that and thinking, well, surely all 8 games can't end in home wins. Maybe they'll be the lucky ones to triumph on their travels. Not that it's been a particularly long journey, although the team did stay away last night at a hotel in Watford. Sheringham. Followed a long way by Scales and fouled by him. Joseph, who was one of the penalty takers in the shootout against Aston Villa.
Not quite tuned into his skipper though at the moment, Roger Joseph. Looked for him a couple of times and just screwing the ball wide and out of play.
And his attempt to send Paul Allen away on a run behind Wimbledon. Allen coming back from that position, and he was a little slow and he was offside.
Where Robbie Earl's got to be very careful for Wimbledon today, Martin, is in that midfield area when you've got Vinnie Samways, Nicky Bambi, and even David Hills at times who will want to get forward. He's got to remember and maybe just try and restrict his forward running himself for the cause of his team today.
Fashanu just trying to help it on. Dobbs was attracted to the ball before it dropped as well. Left it in the end a little late to Fashanu and couldn't find a position to fasten onto the flick.
Just needed a little shout there, John Fashanu. Everyone had dropped off from all defenders as well. Plenty of space. If we had a little shout just to have brought it down.
Anderton having to play on the retreat, pressed by Ardley. And coming up with a confident reply, indicative of his recent improvement in morale. Much fitter now than when he joined Tottenham in the summer from Portsmouth, where of course the club he reached the semi-final with last season. Really the FA Cup bringing Darren Anderton to such prominence. Over Fashanu, over Ruddock. The Wimbledon supporters behind that goal, suggesting that there might have been a shove with their cries then.
Well, the one thing I do remember from the league game that Sellers Park that we showed live on Sky was how well Neil Ruddock in fact coped with John Fashanu. He played him as well as I've seen a centre-half play him, and that again will be a crucial area to look for today.
If Tottenham do go through, Holdsworth is offside. It could be that Ruddock will be suspended from the 6th round. He picked up a booking at Everton in midweek, which took him over the points total, having been on the brink for a long time.
I think you'll find, you look, see Neil Ruddock, it was very close, wasn't it? I hate to see centre-half standing with their hand in the air looking for offside like that, but he got away with it there, Neil Ruddock.
McAllister. Ardley couldn't rein it in. Austin, Ardley's tackle. That little pass for Fashanu. It's going to be another missile, booze or not, to be hurled in here by Jones. Scales come up as well. Wimbledon worked very hard on these restarts. And here comes Joseph. Well, the shot rather in keeping with some of his early passing.
Yeah, he was a little bit unlucky in that he met the ball probably at his highest point there, and he just hadn't timed his run properly, and it was difficult to control.
Ardley's header. McAllister. But Allen was quickly on the scene. Sheringham. Howells. Sheringham. Well, being encouraged to shoot here. There was no quick movement by Wimbledon towards him at all. As if to say, well, we don't think you'll beat Hans Segers from there, but I'm sure that wasn't what they were thinking. They were just flat-footed, looking at the runners and not on the man on the ball.
No, they hadn't pressed the ball early enough at all there. Giving Teddy Sheringham far too much time, certainly for a striker of his quality.
Tottenham have been getting plenty of reward from Darren Anderton's set pieces in recent games. Sheringham, Howells, Mabbott. Wimbledon have got plenty of players back, including Fashanu. Samways. While Fashanu, Jones and our studio guest Laurie Sanchez remain, the Crazy Gang image will still be a part of Wimbledon. The closer analysis reveals a productive youth policy and wise use of what cash has been available on players like Earl and Holsworth. It's fair to say they haven't stayed in the top division simply by chance and good luck.
No, you need a little bit more than that. I think we all realise that.
Tottenham's type of play seems so suited to the knockout competitions. Half this side, of course, were Wembley winners in the FA Cup only a couple of years ago. Jones has the FA Cup tattooed on a leg as a memento of Wimbledon's triumph in 1988.
I've just got a video of mine, Martin, I tell you.
Oh, you're not as macho, though, are you?
I'm just frightened of needles, I think that's what it is.
Tidied up by McAllister, but Tottenham get a throw. And they've summoned up Ruddock to take it. Coming up to 14 minutes played at White Hart Lane. Fashanu defends. Jones plays his part, but not very effectively. Across from Ruddock. Elkins trying to run away, stopped by Barmby's tackle. Ruddock still wide on the left where he'd taken that long throw. Allen probing away. The scorer of Goodison on Wednesday. Anderton, who set that goal up for him. And also made the other for Mabbott in the 2-1 win with a straightforward corner. But this is not a corner, it's a throw, and it requires the strong arms of Ruddock.
It'll be like a corner, though, won't it? But I'd bypass John Fashanu here, who's marking Teddy Sheringham. They've got Gary Mabbott at the edge of the box. I'd be more inclined to sling it there. I fancy my chances with him.
Maybe that's what they were trying to do. Samways didn't come off for Tottenham straight away. Scales slapped it out. Here's Ardley. Terrell Dobbs through the middle at the moment, who started his career as a striker, used now on the right of midfield. Ruddock. Plenty of height, plenty of distance. Tottenham really don't want to, one would think, get sucked into playing the game the Wimbledon way. They have their own beliefs. The fans expect passing. Anderton took a while setting himself for the shot, and the moment was lost.
I think the one thing we have to emphasise in recent weeks just how difficult this Wimbledon side have been to score against. The last 4 games, 4 clean sheets, and they don't get that by luck. You get that by good defending and organisation and working hard for each other. And that's what I expect to see everyone in a blue shirt do today. So it might be about patience for Spurs.
Yes, those 4 clean sheets against Coventry, Aston Villa, of course, Leeds United, the champions, and at Highbury on Wednesday. Very impressive record. This kick though by Jones. And McAllister, Sager's saying, I asked for it, you didn't give it to me. McAllister not wanting to take the risk if he heard the call.
Had plenty of time though, didn't he? Brian McAllister there to nod it back, plenty of space. Perhaps just didn't realise how much time he had.
The bounce of the ball is the signal from Anderton. Barmby comes off for the short corner. Anderton again, Sheringham was so good at getting in front of defenders, did just that. He couldn't deal with the ball when it came.
Wasn't an easy one. I think he actually tries to get control of this Terry Sheringham. I don't think he's going for goal. His foot just comes down to control the ball. It just slips off the side of it and goes for a harmless goal kick.
1-1 draw between these two sides at Selhurst Park earlier this season in the Premier League. Tottenham did the league double over Wimbledon last season, matches in which Gary Lineker totaled 6 goals. I think he might have mentioned that in his recent comments about the opposition to Tottenham today. Elkins was obviously late and actually hurt himself, as well as Anderton.
Well, the crowd seemed quite incensed. It was a clumsy tackle for me more than a real cynical. When he flies in there, and you can see the pace of the ball's just beating him as Anderton slid it off the side of his foot. And it's clumsy more than anything.
Diplomatic injury for Elkins, do you think?
It might well be, but I think with the force that they collided, the two guards, it wouldn't surprise me if he winded himself in the clash.
Martin Buddenham just had a word with him.
I think that makes sense. I think anything other than a quiet word in his ear would have been a bit harsh.
What is absolutely sure is that it's a free kick to Tottenham. Anderton. Barmby, thoughtful in his work. And again, there's Fashanu, playing well at the back for Wimbledon. Scales. Samways. Barmby with the cross. Scales' header is flown straight to Anderton, who can try and deliver with some precision here. Ruddock, marked by Fashanu. I think you've seen over the last few seconds what Wimbledon put in defensively and why they've not conceded a goal in the last 4 games.
You look at them now, the two centre forwards, the two strikers are in line with the two centre backs. Almost playing 4 centre backs there. I think that shows you what kind of spirit's here amongst these Wimbledon players. It's a thing they've always been very, very proud of at Wimbledon. The spirit generated and how hard they work for each other.
Here for Ardley. It does. Trying to take on Mabbott, who is rather like a dentist pulling a tooth then. Done very cleanly. But here come Wimbledon again with Dobbs. It's a dive, says Martin Bodnam, with a gesture to tell us all what his opinion was. Joseph. Knocked out by Ruddock, laid off well by Sheringham. Earl gets a foot in. And a little back heel as well. And it breaks behind Joseph to Allen. Earl playing it right back at the moment. And doing it well. Samways. Barmby. Tottenham, of course, attacking the end in which they scored 4 goals in just under 5 minutes last Sunday at the expense of Southampton.
A hard push to see that today, won't you?
Well, you never know. Who'd have thought it last week? And Tottenham were slow to get going, and Southampton were leading. Obviously didn't do Ian Bradford's players any harm. They've come back with 2 great wins. And Joseph has played into trouble then by John Scales.
This actually looked like an area where Spurs just might get some joy with Paul Allen not playing as a wide player but tucked in a little bit on the left-hand side. Roger Joseph's conscious of that fact, and he himself has been tucking in from the right-back area, and it has left a little gap there. It's just in Edinburgh. Once or twice it's just looked like if they'd have used them, they'd have had some joy.
Away first time by Elkins. But needing 2 goes at it. He's pushed in the back by Holdsworth the second time. Ardley. Earl. Showing that Wimbledon can play with the ball on the deck, but Ardley, who is a good all-round footballer, was slightly embarrassed when the ball came back to him. So Arsenal are through, Blackburn are through, Ipswich, Manchester City, Sheffield Wednesday, just Derby from outside the Premier League. Whatever happens today, 7 Premier League teams in the last 8 at the FA Cup, that's for sure, which might be an answer to some of those who've criticised the standard in the top division this season.
It's quite a mouth-watering last 8, isn't it, there, when it gets finished with today, if it does finish today, of course.
When you think you could possibly get Tottenham against Arsenal, possibly Manchester United against Manchester City. The draw, remember, you will see live on Sky Sports. That's tonight, 6:30. And England's quest for goals against San Marino. Holdsworth looking for a goal here. And there might be one on for Wimbledon. And Ruddock knocks it out after some confusion there for Tottenham. And Dean Holdsworth, who's been very dangerous in recent games, looking to put on his party piece here.
Great defending though from Gary Mabbott, wasn't it? Had to be so precise with his tackle. Made it look so easy.
Oh, Scales, will it come from McAllister? It does, it's a good try.
That was a cracking strike from Brian McAllister. I mean, obviously, Eric Torsvett's seen this coming all the way because he doesn't really move for it, but watch the power he gets behind it. Comes to him very, very quickly. And that's a lot closer than we think, isn't it?
Well, this might not be by the particularly arranged route, but let's remember that the winning goals against Arsenal and against Leeds in the last 2 Wimbledon games have come from right-wing corners taken by Neil Ardley. Sagers is a very confident goalkeeper in respects, including his kicking. Been here so long, it's hard to remember that he's a Dutchman. Barmby. Tottenham trying here with plenty of numbers available to pass their way through Wimbledon.
You look again there, who was one of the deepest players in the Wimbledon defence? It was John Fashanu.
Which is allowing Ruddock to rampage forward. It could drop Barmby's way, it does. Howell's going in! Darren Anderton takes the salute. Nicky Barmby headed it across and 2 Tottenham players attacked the ball. It had ended up in Sagers' net.
Well, one of the smallest men in the pitch. You mentioned it, Fashanu and Holdsworth gone back, allow Ruddock to steam forward. Gets a deflection here, but just watch the way that Anderton and Howells attack the ball. Absolutely crucial there that they committed themselves. And you can see from the joy in Darren Anderton's face. It's his left foot that gets a vital touch on it. It's a good knock back, but it's the attacking of the ball there that's the most crucial aspect of the goal.
And how well it's going for Anderton. Barmby's header, and Anderton just beating Howells for the final touch. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Wimbledon 0. Well, his slow start to his time with Spurs, forgotten now. He's certainly showing what he can do. Fashanu. Well, the linesman indicating that what surely it was a foul. The referee waited for the flag before blowing.
These situations always present a danger when Wimbledon have a free kick in this part of the park.
Can Wimbledon hit back within a matter of seconds? Jones glides it on and over.
Well, better touching this from Vinnie Jones. He does get there, which is the first object of the job, but he just can't keep his header down. That's one of those that could quite easily have sneaked in at the back post over Eric Torsett.
Well, plenty of things to say from the bench, Messrs Clements and Livermore. Anderton. Fashanu. Holdsworth. David Howells, who has had this Achilles problem that he collected against Southampton here last Sunday and stayed down after the goal, but it was just the fact that he was winded in the collision, in that quest to get to the ball from Nicky Barmby's header. Jones. Well, it's a poor one from Elkins. Spurs fueled up by scoring first. And hoping there for a corner, they're not going to get one. Fashanu's header, Earl going in, bravely done by Howells. Then Ardley, Howells there again with the bicycle kick, McAllister. And a push on Fashanu by Mabbott. But the Spurs players complaining that the flag was already up.
I think they're right. I mean, the first offence is the offside because it came from the ball played up to John Fashanu. The second offence is the free kick against Fashanu. So really offside should be the proper decision.
Elkins takes. McAllister, encouraged by his earlier effort, that one wasn't quite so good.
See how quickly Spurs pushed out there in that instance. As soon as it was headed clear to a man, just watch them here as the ball's played in. They get half a header on. It's not a great header from David Hill, but just watch them go now. They're all on the way out the box looking for offside.
Well, Terry Venables, who was in the Tottenham team that won the Cup in 1967 when Joe Kinnear was a teammate. Fashanu thought about the shot once and twice. Edinburgh clears. It's over scales. Barmby. Sager's really got underneath that. Barmby kept his run going. So go across and take the throw. Well, think about taking it. Let's go back to what we've worked at the training ground, I think, was the message in the end. So Edinburgh down to Samways. Cleared by Jones, and it's Wimbledon's throw. Wimbledon, who have knocked out Everton and Aston Villa on both occasions, needing a replay. Samways. This is Samways. Anderton coming in, looking for another. Bounced off Sagers' body. A long way too. Howells again. Here's Edinburgh. And at the moment, Wimbledon not able to stop Tottenham putting their passing movements together.
No, they're well in control of the game, and that's a really good run here from Samways. You talk about them running from midfield. He gets behind John Scales here, but it's good goalkeeping.
But here's Earl, almost getting the drop on Howells, and had that run just a little more kindly for Wimbledon, he'd have been face to face with Torsvedt. Allen. Just sat up, I think, for him. Scored 3 goals this season, 2 of them against Everton, home and away. Not sure what they've done to upset him to deserve that. It's often a thing managers look at to see who's likely to score, and they feel a bit aggrieved if somebody who's a 1 or 2 man, 2 goals a season man decides a game. Fashion who helps it on, and so does Holdsworth. It was Howells with the last touch, and it was Earl jumping into Ruddock. 1 or 2 Tottenham voices raised there in complaints. They didn't need to complain because the referee had seen and blown.
I think Neil Ruddock, he knew exactly what was happening there. He was well in control of the situation. It was a free kick against Robbie Earl because he was just jumping into the player.
He's big enough to look after himself, Ruddock. Holdsworth. Ruddock again, over McAllister. Hawkins just got there. Anderton winning that particular duel so far in the game. Edinburgh. Hawkins wasting no time with the clearance. Anderton. Barmby. It's hard to track. Hawkins in front of Anderton that time. Sagers having to clear with his weaker foot. Jones. For Earl, who played in the Port Vale side that knocked Tottenham out of the FA Cup somewhat sensationally 5 years ago now. Barmby, very spry to keep that in. But here's Earl. Austin twice doing well. With another foul on Anderton, and he's tried the referee's patience too far.
Well, it was always going to be the case for me that if Gary Elkins committed another foul that was half serious, they would have to be cautioned for it. He just launches himself into Dean Austin there, and no surprise to see the notebook come out.
So Ruddock to take the free kick. 10 minutes left in the first half. Well, Samways very nearly put through by Sheringham, who had to play the ball under pressure. Tottenham have a corner that they've already taken. Allen. Oh, and it's deflected, and Sagers has done very well to get down to that really zipped through a ruck of players.
I think it was Neil Ruddock actually got the last touch on it, and may well have been the man that had been complaining it. Paul Allen tees it up. It's actually John Fashanu. It does come off the big man. He wouldn't have been too happy, the skipper, to have seen that one nestled behind his goalkeeper. That's one he wouldn't have been celebrating. Spurs are controlling it now, though, for me at the moment, Mark. They've looked very dangerous when they've had the ball. Difficulty for the back four of Wimbledon is they're varying the people who go and support Teddy Sheringham. Sometimes little Nicky Barmby's the one, sometimes Vinnie Samway, even David Hurls, as we saw from the goal, is getting in there, and that does make it difficult at the back to know who to be looking for. So they're varying it very, very well, the support play towards Teddy Sheringham.
Perhaps a little overconfidence there. He had a good 15 minutes. This is Ardley. Anderton. Ruddock wanting to play wide left for a moment, really revelling in the game. And I think another point, Andy, is that Tottenham realising, prepared for this game, knowing that they've got to match the physical side of Wimbledon's play to earn the right to pass the ball. There's an injury here involving a late challenge on Edinburgh by Holdsworth. An old-fashioned look at Dean Holdsworth by the Tottenham left-back. One of those as the ball was played, I think. And it's a yellow card for Holdsworth.
Yeah, it was one of those we were all following the ball, weren't we? You see as Justin Edinburgh plays it down the line. Not too sure how much contact. I think he's making a genuine effort, Dean Holdsworth, to block the ball. And when you do that, then there's always a danger that the attacking player's follow-through is going to catch the sole of your boot.
At Wimbledon, they will tell you that they've been trying to get more aggression into Dean Holdsworth. He's not naturally that way.
No, I don't think that leaving your foot in is part of Dean Holdsworth's makeup.
Played by Howells. Life awkward for Sagers. Barmby, much brighter Tottenham at the moment. Howells for Allen, for Barmby, trying to steer it rather than blast it past Sagers.
Well, you can see the difficulty Wimbledon will have. The Tottenham growing confidence. This was a super move. Great vision from Paul Allen for little Nicky Barmby, who opts for precision rather than power. But Sagers is up to it.
Ruddock taking a ride there. Sheringham. Anderton had started wide, cut in field, then had to move out into the space where the ball was played to. Picked off by McAllister, though, for Wimbledon. Jones, Fashanu and Ruddock. It's a battle that's being won by Neil Ruddock at the moment. Oh, from McAllister.
Another booking coming up here, Martin.
Martin Boddenham shaking his head there like a man saying, what alternative do I have when you tackle like that? And the answer is very little alternative other than to produce the yellow card. Three cautions for Wimbledon. And when they wonder why they're not universally loved because of their underdog status, we're getting something of the answer here. Ruddock, fine cross. It's normally Anderton crossing and Ruddock attacking the ball in the centre. The role reversal there, and it very nearly paid off for Tottenham.
Oh, what a goal that would have been. Three of the best one-touches, the first-time ball from Allen, the first-time cross from Ruddock, and the header from Anderton. The header, the only thing that let the move down. But that, a little measure, I feel, of the growing confidence in this Spurs side as the half has progressed.
But it would be foolish for them to think that the job is over yet, not by any means. It's very unwise to write off Wimbledon.
Well, many have done so in the past at their peril.
But they've been on the receiving end in the first half from Tottenham, and in the case of Gary Elkins and a couple of his teammates from the referee as well. Oh, there's room now for Fashanu. The shot hit Ruddock. Earl trying to follow in. Joseph is there, and it wasn't Dobbs who was offside. Rather, it's more central.
But that, the first little warning, wasn't it, from John Fashanu, about 1-0 up, it's never secured. Again, they help it on, that's what they look for to do. Fashanu's in behind Mabit, but Ruddock again was up to the task.
Anderton. Again, Elkins in difficulties, no foul that time. Sheringham for Barnby. What a shot!
What a save!
I'll choose the shot. Wasn't a bad height to save, but to volley like that you require exquisite technique.
Right, they combine great, don't they? Little Nicky Barnby, what a lovely through ball from Sheringham. And that volley could not have been hit any better. Just watch this. Play, move, keep your eye on the ball. What a good save from Sagers.
Corner to Tottenham.
Oh, my first!
Sheringham! 2-0. Thoroughly deserved by Tottenham here. They've been fired up for this London derby in the 5th round of the FA Cup.
Well, it's been on the cards, hasn't it, this goal? Sheringham does ever so well. Look at the way he pulls behind John Scales, then goes in front to him. That, for me, was striking at its very, very best. The little touch at the near post. Teddy Sheringham has totally lost John Scales.
Any sort of touch will do off friend or foe. It might have come off Robbie Earle, that one. But Sheringham had anticipated it, and there was nothing that Sagers could do, having made the save that led to the corner, to stop Tottenham scoring from the corner. And I think we should give Nicky Barnby an assist on that goal for the volley that gave them the set piece. They're rampant again, Tottenham, just as they were here against Southampton, attacking the same end of the ground a week ago. Is it going to be another Super Sunday for Tottenham Hotspur? Well on the way towards it. Sheringham's 7th goal in 5.5 matches.
Well, it may not be 4 in 5 minutes as we saw last Sunday. You can bet your life these Spurs fans will settle for 4 in 45 minutes. That would more than please them. But you have to say it's been an excellent 45 minutes from Spurs.
Anderton with another corner. Fashanu gets to this one. Allen. Anderton, they mixed it up again. Wimbledon haven't really got much of an answer. Allen's cross in the end, the goalkeeper solved the difficulties. But had that been lofted just a little higher by Paul Allen, it could have been 3-0. for those arriving in the centre.
The thing he didn't have was enough space. The goalkeeper's too close to him there. He's a little bit unlucky, and he can't just get it up quick enough. He needs a sand iron down there, didn't he?
Well, to put this in proper perspective, let me remind you that Wimbledon haven't conceded a solitary goal in their last 4 matches, and Tottenham have outwitted them twice here in 45 minutes. Anderton. Barmby! Oh my word! It gets better and better. What a treat they're having, the supporters for Spurs behind that goal, and the management as well.
Well, this was an absolutely glorious header from Nicky Barmby. Darren Anderton, who's suddenly showing the Spurs fans why he costs so much money, produces a cross, but that's a magnificent stooping header that would have given the best keeper in the world absolutely no chance.
Well, the brilliance of Barmby and Tottenham Hotspur are sensing a place in the 6th round of the FA Cup. Wimbledon are rocking, they're down, they're very nearly out. Darren Anderton involved in all the goals. And no wonder Tottenham bring Barmby back, even though they won without him in midweek. Darren Anderton got the first from Barmby, and then took the corner from which Teddy Sheringham supplied the second, and then Barmby wrapped it all up in the first half for Tottenham with a wonderful header. 3-0 to Tottenham at half-time. We'll take a break.
These little badges, mate.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I see Millwall's got Mill on the wall.
Yeah.
And Portsmouth's got Port in the mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know what Arsenal's going to have.
Welcome back. Tottenham 3, Wimbledon 0 at half-time. The facts give a fair reflection of that too. I think 12 shots from Tottenham, 5 on target. Wimbledon haven't had one yet on target. Unless you're a Wimbledon fan, that is a smashing 45 minutes of football. And Clive Allen, already one more goal than you thought.
Yes, I think towards the end of the first half, Tottenham were running right there. It could have been a few more, but I think since they've got the ball down and started passing after the initial 10 minutes, they've really played some good football.
Laurie Sanchez is with us because he's suspended today. Would like to be there, Laurie, wouldn't you? What would you be saying if you were?
I think the manager's going to have to knock a few heads together there. I mean, that's very disappointing 45 minutes for Wimbledon. I mean, on the back of what we've done over the last 11 games, that is most disappointing. I think second half they'll go with 3 at the back and push perhaps 5 forwards on, bring Stevie Cottrell on, play up front and really go. There's not a lot they can really do now. They've got to throw caution to the wind.
Here comes the pick of the half again. Darren Anderton opened the scoring. What did you make of this, Clive?
Neil Ruddock's got forward a few times and put in telling crosses. This one, Barmby's done well to keep it in play, get it back across the face of the goal, and Anderton's come from this side of the park. He's gone a long way, he's followed the cross in, and as Barmby heads it back, he's made a important touch to get it in there. Brave to get there and finish it off.
It was a good ball, wasn't it, from...
He's got a lovely left foot, Neil Ruddock. I know he's a big centre-half, but you won't find many players in the country. Stuart Pearce may be an exception, but Neil Ruddock's got a superb left foot.
Razor Ruddock, I think his nickname is now, but you were saying they used to call him Schuster at one time during his career.
That's right, Schuster. I believe so at Southampton. He can play, that's the thing, but I think he's battled Fashanu today, and Mabbott and Ruddock have really seen off that battle.
Well, we heard how pleased Spurs were to have Nicky Barmby available. Understandable why now. I mean, it was his volley, that save from Hans Segers, that led to the second goal. Terrific technique here, Laurie, wasn't it?
He's a tremendous prospect, isn't he? Watches the ball all the way, catches it tremendously. I think Hans just got the slightest of touches there to direct it over. But yeah, he's a good player. As I said, he was the difference down at our place early in the season, and he's been the difference today as well.
And it was from that corner that Teddy Sheringham scored the second. Were you a little disappointed with the defending here?
Always disappointed to give away goals from set plays. I think one of our players gets a touch here. I think it comes off one of our players, and Sheringham does scales. He all ends up there, doesn't he? Goes behind him and ends up in front of him. So I think it's one of our players. Yeah, I think it might be Fash, got a flick there. Sheringham's done well there. Got away from his marker and arrived at the right place at the right time.
Yes, there he was. As Andy said, he'd gone back, then came forward, didn't he? And that was 2-0. Pick of the goals, that from Nicky Barmby. Clive, would you say the third?
Yeah, I think, again, they've worked the ball wide, they've got it to Anton, he knocks in the cross. And it's a good header. I think he was just concerned about heading the ball well, making a good contact. And obviously it's gone in no better place than the stanchion. Flew in the corner, and you know, his performance in the first half has warranted that goal.
Here it comes. Again, Ruddock with that long ball forward. Darren Anderson here, Clive, who's had a hand in all three of them, hasn't he? And how about this for a finish?
He's made sure good contact with the header, and he's really just directed it. It's not the pace of the ball coming in has helped him, but he's stooped and he's just made sure he's got it on the target, and as I say, in a great position right in the stanchion. Superb header.
You had one come back off a stanchion like that and didn't count, did it?
Yeah,
I think for the moment you thought that had come off the post as well, didn't you?
No, that's a good header.
He had far too much room in the box, though. He's had a free-standing header there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If Wimbledon do get an early strike, will it make a bit of a difference?
If they score within the first 10 minutes, it'll be an interesting game. If they don't, I think we could be out.
But you'll be bombing, I mean...
They'll bring on another forward, we'll play three at the back, and they'll go perhaps with 5 forwards and really give it a go this half. As I say, the difference has been Mabbott and Ruddock have dominated our front two, and they've got to change that around. I'm sure their heads are going to be kicked in the dressing room at the moment by Joe. I'm sure he's not going to accept that.
And conversely, Dougie Livermore and Ray Clements presumably will be telling Spurs, keep it up. You
Just
sit back
pass
now
the
at your
ball,
peril.
keep passing the ball, don't give it away, keep it for as long as they can, keep working the ball wide and getting crosses in, because that's where Tottenham have looked at their most dangerous. And I think the longer they can keep possession of the ball, the harder it is going to be for Wimbledon to get back at them. And they'll be pleased, they'll be delighted with the three-goal cushion. But it's not finished, by far from being finished.
Not by a long way, it's not finished. Certainly not when Wimbledon are around. 3-0 at the moment at White Hart Lane. Spurs, it would appear, on their way to the quarter-finals. What can Wimbledon do about that? We'll find out next. Welcome back, 3-0 to Spurs at half-time. It's turning out to be a very good match, isn't it? 6:30 this evening. We've got the quarter-final draw live. We must come back for that. And this coming Wednesday, a Monday Night Football Extra, England against San Marino, 7 o'clock at Wembley Stadium. That's also live. News from White Hart Lane, Laurie Sanchez, that Steve Cottrell is on for the second half. They've taken Roger Joseph off. So you were spot on. So how will they play now?
I think probably what will happen is Steve Cottrell will play alongside John Fashanu up the middle. Dean Holdsworth probably go wide on the left, and Neil Ardley will probably come into play in midfield with Vinny holding. And Robbie Earl to bomb on from the middle of the field to try and make up 5 forwards every time we cross the ball.
And you need an early goal, don't you?
Need to score within the first 10 minutes of this half, desperately. If we don't, I think it's good night.
Surprising, Clive, how often teams look comfortable at this stage with a 2 or a 3-goal lead. But one for the opposition can very quickly change things, can't it?
Oh, without a doubt, I think, especially in a cup tie. They've got nothing to lose now. They're not playing for points. They're playing just to salvage this game. And it's obviously... they're just going to throw caution to the wind. That's the only thing they can do. And knowing Wimbledon, that could be a lot of crosses into the box, challenges, and trying to get something, scrap for something that will turn the game round for them.
I have to say, we heard that Wimbledon were up for this, but credit Tottenham with a good deal of resolve and a cutting edge also in that first half.
I think so. Again, I have to say that I think Neil Ruddock's been outstanding, but Ruddock and Mabbott have really seen off Fashanu and Holdsworth, and it's really set Tottenham up. I think they've led by their example, and the rest of the team's followed on. And once they've got hold of the ball and passed it, they've looked a very good side.
I mean, momentarily, Laurie, you had the better of the early exchanges, didn't you? That drive from McAllister, which crashed into the side netting, and Dean Holdsworth was away on one occasion. But other than that, you haven't really hurt them, have you?
No, it's been a very disappointing performance, as I say. Tottenham were obviously more G'd up than we were. Sometimes you start to believe what you read in the papers, and as I say, you do trip over at this particular stage, and I think at the moment we believe too much of our own publicity. So they've got to get down to basics now, get themselves G'd up. I'm sure Joe's really had a go at them in the dressing room. They'll be firing on all cylinders for 45 minutes. To be honest, they've got to play for their pride here today. At 3-0, you are playing for pride.
There's a big prize up for grabs, a quarter-final place. Let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Steve Cotterill, as you rightly said, is on. He's only just back from a torn thigh muscle, but he had a reserve game in midweek. He scored against Bristol City reserves. And now he's hoping to get Wimbledon back into a game in which they really haven't shown us what they are capable of so far. Tottenham will believe they're heading towards a 4th consecutive win. Their goal tally over that period already 12.
And the one thing you can bet your life on, if Tottenham manage to blow this now, the management team will not be very happy with them.
It's going to be force of numbers from Wimbledon and get the ball up there as often and as quickly as possible. It should make very interesting viewing.
I think, as Laurie Sanchez said at half-time, if they do manage to get any goal in, they're just so unpredictable, these boys in blue from Wimbledon, aren't they?
Jones to take the throw, of course. Out comes Torsvett. Underemployed. There's a lot to do for Gary Elkins here. The only player back, and he's achieved it. Former England Youth International. His 3rd season from Fulham with Wimbledon.
I don't think there's any doubt that Wimbledon would want, or will want, to exert some pressure on Spurs, but the important thing for Spurs' point of view is when they've got the ball, they must try and keep it, pass it about, pop it about, keep it away from Wimbledon as much as possible, and that'll make the second half a lot easier for them.
Barmby, Sheringham. Ardley's been switched to play on the right-hand side. Elkins having to come all the way across to the right as well from left back. Off Scales. It's the corner. It's another opportunity for Darren Anderton to deliver the ball. He's been doing it splendidly for Spurs in recent games, including this one. They've been scoring from their corners. Samways wanted to get his body right to use the left foot. Back from Anderton again. The ball came off McAllister, Sheringham. Quick reaction from Teddy Sheringham and then from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's all about a striker in form, wasn't it there? The man has definitely got goals in his veins at the moment, Teddy Sheringham, with that quick reaction.
Cotterill. Rudder, Fashionable started on, and Robbie Earle is offside.
I mean, I felt a little bit sorry here for them defensively. Dean Holdsworth causes the problem by going up and actually missing the ball. Brian McAllister's taken by surprise, but look at the reaction from Sheringham onto it like a flash.
Barmby's dummy. Can he reach it from Sheringham? He can. It gives us an opportunity to get a word from our man down by the dugouts there, Nick Collins. Nick.
Martin, just wanted to fill you in on the game of cat and mouse that was being played at half-time. Neither side wanting to come out for the start of the second half first, and in the end the referee Martin Boddenham had to knock on both doors of the dressing rooms to actually force the teams to come out.
Well, it just shows that there is plenty of feeling, and that hasn't evaporated because the game at the moment is one-sided. There. There's an injury for Tottenham at the moment. And Martin Boddenham wondering whether Darren Anderton is actually off the pitch. He isn't, as you can see.
Won't be getting a very good view of it from where he is, though, the referee. He obviously assumes he is off the pitch. You can see it's the small of his back that they're messing about with there. So he obviously is taking a knee or probably a knee in the back there. It's going to be very, very painful.
On from Scales. Elkins. Now McAllister. Wimbledon wanting to mix it any way they can.
What they're going to do, they're going to leave themselves wide open to counter-attack. If they do manage to exert any type of pressure from throw-ins, from free kicks, and if Tottenham do get the ball and break quickly from a defensive position, there could be some joy for them.
Dobbs. Earl. Elkins, who's got a good left foot. He scored against Aston Villa. Just a thought on Nicky Barmby, Andy. Of course, England are going to claim him to take him to Australia next month, when Tottenham, it seems, will still be in the FA Cup. I don't think we've heard the last of that.
No, I don't think so. Certainly when he's playing as well as he's playing, Tottenham will not want to lose someone like that for their FA Cup run. We are, of course, assuming that this game is over with, Alan.
We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. Howells with the header. We've got more for you from Nick Collins.
Martin, just to confirm for you that the substitution of Roger Joseph at half-time was because he's got a knee injury. Had a very quick word, actually, with Joe Kinnear as well as he came back out for the start of the second half, and he said he was very disappointed with Wimbledon's bad marking.
Sheringham with two players going for his pass, and that's why it broke down for Tottenham. Steered off by Sheringham. He just keeps going at such a regular pace, Paul Allen. His cousin Clive, watching in the studio, must be very proud of him. He certainly doesn't let the family down. Famous footballing dynasty.
There's more of them around than Linnegans, aren't there? I was confused enough with Andy and David in that last week.
He loves his sport, Paul Allen. He was watching that great innings by Chris Lewis for England on the television a couple of hours before the match started. You wouldn't think he was going to take part in a match of this importance. Hardly. Here's McAllister. The three Wimbledon players booked. Gary Elkins and Dean Holdsworth. Hardly. Machinu. Holdsworth. Trying to seek out some support. He couldn't find any. McAllister. It's a clever pass over the top for Dobbs, and this is the chance for Wimbledon. And Dean Austin cut the ball out before it could do any harm.
Oh, it was a great interception from Dean Austin, it really was.
But it's a corner. Wimbledon may lack certain refinements, but they don't lack guts. Coming up to 10 minutes gone in the second half. Tottenham with goals from Darren Anderton, Teddy Sheringham and Nicky Barmby. Their supporters already happy because they're above Arsenal in the league now. And they'll be wondering now whether they'll get paired with Arsenal in the quarter-finals of this competition.
They'll probably wait for the semis again. Play it at Wembley.
That would be an interesting question if it was in the semis. With the ball, he certainly hurt Dobbs. But it is a throw and not a free kick. Steve Allen, the physio, racing round to treat Dobbs. Hardly. Offside. Robiel. Tottenham, who were well drilled defensively.
Yes, they are. It only takes one, though, not to go out. I mean, here we see, as soon as Ruddock gets the header, out they go. Played instantly back. I think Robiel, in fact, is one of the ones that's onside, but one or two of the others on the way back caught offside. Very effective, that, when everyone's working together like that.
Barmby. McAllister is penalised.
So we wondered at half-time with the substitution whether they'd actually go three at the back, Wimbledon. But they haven't done what they've done. They've moved Neil Ardley to Roger Joseph's position at right back. Gone three in the middle and three up front. Steve Cottrell's gone and joined John Fashanu and Dean Holdsworth up front.
Barmby. The Howells. It may be that will come later. Really, they might as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb here and try to make some inroads into this 3-goal deficit. They're the three up front that Andy was talking about. Cottrell, who's had an unusual career, he's been dogged by injury. He's been with Wimbledon almost 4 years now and only played 15 league games. But in those 15 games, he scored 6 goals. So it might just be one of his days.
Ironic cheers from the Wimbledon supporters there.
Over Jones, came off the back of Dean Austin's head. Ruddock and Howells, and Austin going for it. Ruddock a bit confused there, wondering whether Torsfeld might come. Sheringham standing his ground against Scales. Mabbott. Hopkins linking up with Holdsworth. Deflected by Austin, behind for a corner. No, the flag was up for offside earlier. Just on the subject of Dean Austin there, he just is an example of how fate can play a part in the development of a player. He wasn't going to play against Wimbledon at Selhurst Park back in October. He was out walking his dogs when he got a call on the Sunday morning that Pat Van den Houwe had gone down with the flu. And Dean played at the 11th hour and has been in ever since.
And I think the goalkeeper, Eric Torsfeld, would remember that game very well as well, Martin. Ian Walker in charge of that #1 jersey up until that day. Had a horrible clash with John Fashanu. Went off, Eric went in goal, and he's been there ever since.
Absolutely right. And as we said at the start, it was also the first match for Gary Mabbott of the season. And now he has shorn things up. He and Ruddock looking an excellent pair in the middle. The barrier that Wimbledon have got to try and better with the power of Fashanu, who really has been on the fringe of the match, has spent more time in the first half defending. to get across the penalty area. I think we saw from the expression on the faces of Ray Clements and company when the third goal went in just how much beating Wimbledon means to Tottenham. Ray's very proud at the moment. His son Steve played for England under-15s yesterday, got his first cap, came on as a substitute towards the end of the win over the Republic of Ireland at Reading. Proud father indeed. Sheringham. Barmby. Room for Austin. Tottenham have been quite content to soak it up so far in the second half. Sheringham. Barmby again has taken up an astute position where Wimbledon couldn't find him. McAllister was hurt, I think, perhaps blocking the cross rather than just getting there before Anderton to clear. He was an injury doubt this morning. He's had a cut shin. The message from the bench is to get the ball wide. I think perhaps from Dougie Livermore there to just pick up the tempo a little bit more. Certainly Barmby had heard the call and went out on the right-hand side.
I mean, that makes sense when you think they've had to tuck three into the midfield area now. And obviously Doug Livermore and Ray Clements know there's going to be space wide if Spurs want to get it down and pass it. I'm not so sure if I'd want the tempo of the game picked up if I was in the Spurs bench. I mean, you're quite in control, you're 3-0 down, 3-0 up. You know, just dictate the pace of the game. That's what I'd be saying to my players, not up the tempo.
Well, they want to win by a lot.
They're winning by a lot.
Barmby, they want more. Anderton. Scales who intervened. Howells knew where Allen was instinctively and found him. Edinburgh. From Samways to Edinburgh again, and once more Sheringham, who makes that run so productively.
Well, he gambles, and I've always believed, Martin, if you're a striker and you gamble at that near post often enough, you're going to get rewarded. Again, he gets there ahead of defender and goalkeeper, but he just can't direct his shot.
Has he done it all himself? Well, he would have done, but for Sagers. It was an excellent stop. The shot was hit hard and true at the end of a captivating run, irresistible from Anderton.
Super piece of football all round, wasn't it? Great individual run from Darren Anderton. There you see him go straight across the pitch on that diagonal, always a boss, shows good strength there. Does everything right there for me and going across the goalkeeper. But Hans Sagers makes an excellent save.
Well, there were whispers around football that Spurs had got it wrong in signing him at the start of the season. He was shy, he was timid, he couldn't influence a game. But what most people didn't know was that he wasn't fully fit. He subsequently had the hernia operation. And now the real Darren Anderton is definitely standing up. Tottenham have been telling us we've got some good youngsters, and they're right. But here's Dobbs, one of the youngsters for Wimbledon. It's 3-1. Hooked in by Dobbs, and Wimbledon will sense just a little bit of light at the end of a dark tunnel.
Well, it's Wimbledon all through, isn't it? Long kick up the park, couple of knock-ons, and that's a lovely finish from Gerald Dobbs. Not a bad way to get your first goal of the season. Look at the way he controls that shot. Doesn't opt for the pass, but just controls it. Drifts it over Erik Thorstvedt. Well, I wonder, can they get back?
Not just first goal of the season, first goal full stop for Wimbledon, not counting, of course, the penalty in the penalty shootout against Aston Villa, the first run in real play. And he's just given Wimbledon a scent of a more pleasant odour.
Well, that's what we can expect, more of that. If they can get the ball to hand Segers or the defenders get it, I feel sure. Big Fash, it'll be bomb forward to him. They'll be trying to get as many players as they can in contact with him. They'll have to gamble at the back, of course. They'll have to go 1-for-1 at times and risk losing another goal. But you have to do that when you're 3-1 down in a cup tie, not looking like you're going out.
Cottrell. How will Tottenham handle this? Segers bristling there with the urgency to get the ball forward. It comes off the head of Ruddock, who's read it right again. Well, they talk, the Wimbledon fans, about the number of missions impossible that have been accomplished by the club.
Well, if they get themselves back into this game, Martin, this really would be ranked certainly among the best of them.
Hardly. He comes out on top. Now through the header, Barmby's flick. Tottenham trying to restore some order quickly here before Wimbledon really do get up ahead of steam.
Well, the best way again for them to do that is for Spurs to get it down, to pass it out, to keep the ball.
Barmby. McAllister had no margin for error.
It really was.
Holdsworth. And Sheringham got to it. Hamilton was almost able to feed from that. Holdsworth having to track deeper than probably he wanted to. But the noise you're hearing at the moment is coming from followers of Wimbledon, who have suffered in silence for more than an hour. Barmby, that was a mistake by Ardley, in fact. Sheringham, well held by Segers. And straight away with 3 up to aim for. Fashanu is one of them. Ruddock right alongside him again. He's given him nothing. But the gap has appeared elsewhere, and Gerald Dobbs has come through it to score. And here's Ardley. Jones. Out comes Thorstvedt. Jumping with a leg extended to protect himself. But there was no challenge on Erik Thorstvedt. At the other end, the Dutchman superbly. Sheringham. Almost overdoing it on the edge of his own area. Deft flick from Jones. Here's Cottrell. Dobbs getting into the middle. Only Dobbs at the moment. But he'll be joined now considerably. Well, they've taken the corner quickly, and Tottenham just looking a little ragged. But helped by their own organisation again. Another offside.
Well, they almost caught them napping there, didn't they? Not noted for getting it down and taking short corners there, and Spurs had just switched off for a second. They look a little bit more anxious on that bench now, don't they?
Do you think they might want the tempo lifted now?
No, I still think you've got to try and control the game against a team like Wimbledon. The tempo of the game's up, so are they.
Barmby. Sandways is through the centre. McAllister comes out. this game out and have added extra meaning to the second half, which still has 20 minutes to run.
Well, it would be an interesting 20 minutes if they got one now, wouldn't it, from Wimbledon?
It's the end of the ground that seems to guarantee goals that they're attacking. Now, can Fashanu find a header? No, it's Ruddock again. Jones. Past Austin, but not able to avoid going over the touchline. There are happy memories of White Hart Lane for Wimbledon. They won their semi-final here in 1988, and they beat Luton the day that Bobby Gould brought the players here in a minibus. And again, emphasise the below-stairs nature of Wimbledon Football Club. Watching the ball and not really watching where Tottenham might have got offside. Off the ball, Barmby and Scales, a flash point here. Not so much from Barmby himself, but Samways was very angry, who saw the incident rather than taking part in it. Game goes on. Martin Bodenham has kept law and order. Hasn't been easy. Flag up for offside. Well, that now is becoming a relevant statistic. But when you play against Tottenham, I think teams do know that that's a trap that Spurs use to good effect. Joe Kinnear, well aware of that, I'm sure. Very disappointed with the way his players performed in the first half. Some pride being restored here, but whether it will lead to staying into the FA Cup remains to be seen. There looked no chance. There is some, albeit slim.
And another offside to mark down for us. Now that's going to be, and as you get approach the last 15-10 minutes, when players get tired as well, they do tend to drop off the game. Defenders tend to defend deeper. Discipline now maybe just might go once or twice from one or two Tottenham players, and that's when they've got to be careful in pushing out.
Sheringham. You do sense Spurs will get further chances to score. Allen. There's Wimbledon's way. Little sneer at the referee by Paul Allen. Jones with a rangy ball for Holdsworth. Holdsworth again, Jones again. And Ruddock wasn't too impressed with the tackle. But they both kept their tempers there, and that would be an incident worth having another look at.
Well, it just looked a good old-fashioned committed tackle between two committed players. They certainly got up patting each other on the head.
Is that exactly what they were doing?
I think so. I think so. Certainly one of those I'd have been pulling out of, but they certainly both dive into it. There you are, there's a little pat in the back of the head.
Samways. Barmby. Barmby. past Sagers.
He's in that position 5 or 6 times, isn't he? Hand Sagers at that near post, and the ball has been like a magnet.
Jones, good work on the ball. Dobbs would have been offside. Flag went up, the referee allowing Tottenham to go on. It's their advantage. Barmby just fell down as he tried to take on Earl. It's awkward for Mabbott. Again, Ruddock was there. Well, the only criticism in the past, really, of Neil Ruddock has been his lack of discipline, a rather immature temperament, but he's grown up on his return to Tottenham, given him the chance at the club here. A real gesture of faith in him to go back and sign him from Southampton, sign him for the second time. And what a splendid game he's had. And Mabbott, the perfect partner.
The perfect influence on him as well, eh?
Gary Mabbott shows that you can play season in, season out without getting too many bookings. Hardly back for Sagers to have to hammer away under challenge from Sheringham. Dobbs isn't one of the bigger Wimbledon players, but he's certainly got the aggression required by the management. Here he is. Free kick from Tottenham. For Anderton. Oh, and Sagers at full stretch. Stops Darren Anderton, restoring the 3-goal cushion.
And a measure of the confidence that Darren Anderton's now playing with. It's a great ball in from Barmby. Anderton sizes up the situation and just fractionally out with his measurements in that delicate little chip. Good goalkeeping again, though.
Howells with the flick, came out of Fashanu. 12 minutes left. And Dean Austin with a thou shalt not pass attitude. And Mabbott being tugged by Cotterill. Looked for a second that Gary Mabbott really having to reach for that ball, might lose control of it, but the little smile of satisfaction there that he was in the end in control.
Well, he was always struggling with Steve Cotterill tugging away at his jersey more than anything.
Earl. Tottenham now, but there is still no way that they can relax here. There's another long throw to be defended. If it went 3-2, well, hoisted away by Howells. Barmby making light of a difficult dropping ball, but exceeding his ambition really with the attempted pass. But Howells got it back for Samway. Sheringham's free to the left. Howells coming up as well. It's fun between the two of them, in fact. Tottenham face 11 outfield players. Sagers may well come up for a corner or two. Certainly he would if it was 3-2.
Once again, though, in that situation, Neil Ruddock was the complete boss.
Howells. It's Edinburgh's pass. Sagers wanted to come out again, but Scales stepped in. Ruddock dominating Fashanu. Barmby for Anderton. Again, eye-catching in the build-up. And again, two very raw players in terms of experience, looking very much attuned to what's expected of them at this level. Nick Barmby and Darren Anderton.
Well, it suggests that the future of Tottenham's in good hands as well, doesn't it? Watch the way Anderton comes across there, drags people out the hole, and he had the option, in fact, he could have rolled that square. And Teddy Sheringham was just at the edge of the box waiting to come in on it.
Sagers, a study in concentration. Allen. Robbie Earl. Blocked it. Earl, who last season scored so many goals, 15 in all for Wimbledon. He's had to be a more orthodox midfield player this season. Up and back, up and back. Mabbott came up for that corner. Tottenham in a what we have, we hold.
But they couldn't. It was quite simple. Wimbledon left the three front men up front. They wanted to come up. Both Ruddock and Mabbott started to go. Saw that Fashanu holes within Cottrell weren't moving and had to just jog back into position.
Good anticipation by Samways. And Elkins matching the run of Anderton.
These are as important as goals at the moment for Tottenham. Corner after corner. The one thing they'll know, if the ball's up there, sitting where it is now, then there's no way Wimbledon can score.
Well, as Anderton looks up, he can see Barmby in there, Sheringham as well. And that's your lot. So that's why it goes short to Samways. Earl. Of Dobbs. Samways. Sheringham. They're more committed to this attack, Tottenham, than they've been at the corners. Or are they?
Well, they keep the ball. This is what I was saying, Martin, about dictating the pace rather than upping it. This is the one thing that they want to do. They're in total control when they've got the pace of the game down and they're passing it and moving. Last thing they want to do is up the tempo, give the ball away and have to endure pressure themselves.
Finally is given away by Samways, but only for a fleeting second. Barmby. It's time for the Olays now. Barmby, indefatigable. Anderton. Elkins anticipated the move. Anderton has it back, and Tottenham continue to taunt Wimbledon a little here.
Well, you can say it's taunting, but it's actually great football, you know. Keeping the ball away from opposition for that length of time. Super play from Spurs.
Well, the name Tottenham very close now to being in the draw for the 6th round, which is coming up live on Sky Sports at 6:30. On Wednesday, we have for you England against San Marino, when just winning for England won't be enough. It's the margin of victory that is crucial. White Hart Lane, reminiscent now of Great cup ties of the past, there have been so many of them here. The crowd take a particular delight in the successes in this competition. And another one is very nearly completed here. After all the talk in the week, all the battle cries from Wimbledon. Is offside, and Wimbledon just haven't fathomed that out, really. Sega's got the ball in the area, released it as he came out. Jones, no one left. Much left for Wimbledon.
Not really. It's all getting a little bit frantic for them now. I think you look around, you see one or two Wimbledon players, I think have resigned themselves to the fact that this game is now beyond them. And again, offside. Just how often they've fallen for that little offside trap. I actually thought that was something that Robbie Earl in particular may have had some joy with in running from deep, but as an attacking force we've seen very, very little of him.
Tottenham's traditions run so deep in the FA Cup, the competition they can proudly say they've won more often than any other club, and they've given themselves the chance here to be on the roll of honour again this year. 3 minutes or so away from confirming their place in the quarter-finals. Fashanu, Mabbott for company this time, but while Mabbott stood off, Austin came flying in. Ruddock.
I was just about to say to you, guess who with the header?
Allen. Edinburgh, Wimbledon might be caught out now. Edinburgh, will he go all the way? He's got Samways there for a potential cross, and still Samways with a shot. It hit the top of the bar.
Well, that's the one thing I think that Vinnie Samways really desperately wants to add to his game, to basically call him a complete player, and that's goal scoring. I think he could do with more goals and getting into the position he gets, but he doesn't do much wrong with that one. Hits it very, very well, just catches the top of the bar.
We were talking at the start about the extraordinary scenes in the tunnel before the game. Here's Allen, break off from that for a moment, Barmby. But in all the contretemps down near the dressing rooms, the Spurs players were just watching with a great degree of humour. When the music was bellowing at its loudest, Gary Mabbott came out and said, haven't they got any Whitney Houston?
I think it was a thing, it was more the officials who were being agitated, Spurs officials. The players were very relaxed with the whole thing.
And enjoying the humour of it, which was considerable as it turned out. And if Wimbledon did win that battle, they've come nowhere near really winning the match. Anderton, summing up the style of Spurs again.
Looks a different player, Darren Anderton, doesn't he? You look at the shots that Tottenham have had on that goal there, but Darren Anderton, for me, Mark, we watched him early on in the season, and he honestly looked a pale shadow of the player who was at Portsmouth. He's now beginning to show everyone why Tottenham paid that money for him and how delighted he must be, more than anybody.
And as he was last year at Portsmouth, he's involved in an exciting FA Cup run. A major part in Spurs winning the match, involved in all 3 goals. Into stoppage time. Tottenham have pulled everyone back. And Ruddock's header, a major candidate for any man of the match award. The goal scorers always get the praise, but the defenders have been crucial here. Offside was Allen. He hasn't heard the whistle.
He has now.
Steve Tottenham, the linesman, put his flag up straight away. And, well, maybe Alan had heard it and just wanted to use up a few more seconds.
No, I think his reaction suggested to me that, no, he didn't hear the whistle.
Paul Allen, who will be a guest of ours for that live FA Cup draw at 6:30. Samways. Onto the top of the net, not into the back of the net.
Well, that would just have been a little bit of icing on the cake. Some wonderful goals already today. This one, the vision, the execution would have beaten them all, I suppose.
No time for risks for Ruddock.
Well, I mean, if they're going to toss it in, then he'll just come and head it clear, Neil Ruddock, the way things have gone today.
They've even given that one up now. It's a shorter throw. Holdsworth hoping for a corner. That's Cotterill, who's forced it in. 3-2, Steve Cotterill. Oh, but just too late perhaps for Wimbledon. Martin Boddenham will know how long we've got left.
Well, there's little time left. It's a great ball in from Gary Elkins in immediate confusion. Gary Mabbitt doesn't go and claim the header, and Steve Cotterill bundles it over at the second attempt.
All eyes on the clock from both points of view. 3-2, who'd have thought it? But it's over, and Tottenham are into the 6th round of the FA Cup. Darren Anderton got the first goal, took the corner for Teddy Sheringham to head the second, played the cross in for Nick Barmby to head the third in a super first half for Spurs. Wimbledon stuck at it with characteristic guts. Gerald Dobbs and Steve Cotterill right at the last, scoring for them. The Tottenham cocktail often has the right fizz when the cup ties come around, but for Wimbledon, the flatness of defeat. Spurs 3, Wimbledon 2.
Very enjoyable too, and we'll be back in a moment or so for the thoughts of Clive Allen and Laurie Sanchez. 3-2 to Spurs. More to come yet before we're finished. Good deal more. Welcome back. 3-2 to Spurs. Good deal closer at the end than maybe it really was over the 90 minutes. 20 shots from Tottenham, 11 on target, as you can see, 7 from Wimbledon, 2 on target, so they scored with both of those. 30 free kicks conceded by Wimbledon, 9 by Spurs. Let's go back to White Hart Lane and have a word with 2 of the Tottenham heroes. They were Nick Collins.
Well, Gary, congratulations. Tottenham in the 6th round of the Cup. Were you surprised that Wimbledon kept battling away at you in that second half?
No, not at all. We knew what to expect, and although we went up 3 up in the first half, it was a great performance in the first half from us. We knew in the second half they'd come out and they'd be fighting all the way through. They never give up, and they didn't all game. And you said they scored in the last minute to make it 3-2, but I think we did our hard work in the first half. Unfortunately, in the second half, we didn't play as well as we hoped to have done, but I think we're quite satisfied now.
2 years ago, of course, you led Spurs to a Wembley Cup final triumph. Are you getting the same kind of feeling about this year's run, perhaps?
Well, I don't want to get too carried away with it. Obviously, we're through to the quarter-finals now, and that's the all-important thing for us. But, I mean, we've got a great cup position here at Tottenham, and as you say, it was great 2 years ago, probably the greatest moment of my career so far, so it'd be great to do it again, but we'll wait and see.
Well, Darren Anderton, of course, last year, you were a semi-finalist in the FA Cup, so you know all about this competition, but how pleased were you to get that first goal to get Spurs on their way?
Oh, I was very pleased, obviously. You know, it's nice to score goals, and we needed it. And from then on, we played some good football, and we scored 2 goals just before the break, which, you know, won us the game in the end.
David Howells at one stage looked as if he was going to try and claim that goal, but perhaps you can clear it up for us.
No, I got the touch. I think I did anyway, so I'm going to claim it.
Well, here it comes there, so just talk us through it.
Well, I saw the ball going to Nicky, so I just thought I'd get in there, and fortunately I got the touch and it went in.
Yeah, you did, definitely. That's right. That's 2 goals in consecutive Sundays for you now. That must be a big confidence booster, is it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I haven't started too well here, but in recent weeks I've began to play a little bit better, so hopefully I can keep it going.
Gary, how satisfying is it as one of the senior players to see these young players like Darren and Nick Barmby doing so well at the moment?
I think that's the best thing about our club at the moment. I think we've got some great potential in our youth ranks, and as you said, they've come into the first team and held their own. And I think it's great. I think the prospect for the future here is tremendous, great potential, and I think they've come in, they've shown it, and especially Darren, as I say, the last 4 or 5 games he's been excellent. Nick Barmby has been performing excellently for us. So yes, I think that combined with the all-round team spirit at the moment, we're quite pleased.
Final question and an obvious one, but who do you want in the 6th round draw of this evening?
A home draw. Against anyone, as long as it's at home.
Yeah, home again, yeah, that'll do me.
Arsenal, perhaps?
Not yet.
OK, we're safe then for the final. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
And don't forget, you can see that 6th round draw live here on Sky Sports at 6:30 this evening. Clive Allen, the West Ham striker, and Laurie Sanchez of Wimbledon, our guests. Laurie suspended this afternoon. In fact, it's not been a very good day for you, Laurie, has it?
No, very disappointing. I think all the boys would be well disappointed with the afternoon's work. I know we've got 2 goals, the one right at the death there, but overall not the performance we were hoping for.
One of the differences, perhaps, Clive, Darren Anderton came across as a very nice young man there, didn't he? He's started to blossom now.
That's right. I think he was brought to fill the void left by Chrissy Waddle leaving Spurs a few years back, and enviable task to undertake. But I think he's now showing, obviously, what Terry Venables and the staff there at Tottenham knew he could do, and he's flourishing. You
don't hesitate when you're asked, was it your goal, do you?
No, not at all. I can't say how he thought he touched it. He either touched it or he didn't, and I think it's proved there that he scored the goal. He followed the cross, obviously, and again, Barmby did well to nod it back, and he got the all-important touch to put it in the back of the net.
OK, well, we'll be back in a moment or so, taking a look back at the best of the action. If you missed any of it, came in late perhaps, shouldn't have done, but we'll have a look at it all next. Stay where you are. Welcome back, 3-2 to Spurs at White Hart Lane in our live match. Don't forget the draw for the quarterfinals we'll be making here live at 6:30 this evening. Clive Allen and Laurie Sanchez are with us. Let's stroll back through the best of the incidents from that match. Darren Anderton opening the scoring for Tottenham Hotspur. Clive, there it is.
Yeah, brave to get in there, and he got the all-important touch to finish it off. Got Tottenham on their way.
Quick that, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
1-0, and it stayed like that until the 40th minute. And that really is perhaps what Wimbledon will be most disappointed about, Laurie, letting those 2 goals in right on half-time.
Yeah, even if they'd kept it to 2 at half-time, you would have fancied us, but given the 3rd one was the killer, to be honest. I mean, that was literally in the dying seconds of that half. I mean, naive to let 2 goals in the last 5 minutes of a half.
Here's the second. Teddy Sheringham was the goal scorer.
Good movement, good header. Goal scorer's goal.
Yeah, created the space for himself. He's attacked the back of the defender, then all of a sudden got in front of him, and a good header, headed it down, gave the goalkeeper no chance. Teddy's in good form at the moment, goal scoring wise. Second goal gave Tottenham that cushion, and obviously the 3rd one, as Laurie said, killed them off.
They got 4 in 5 minutes last week against Southampton, 2 in 4 minutes here. And Nicky Barmby's, we said at half-time, arguably the pick of the bunch. Do we still think that, Laurie?
Yeah, he's done well. He's got great contact. I mean, dream about those going in there. He'll be well pleased. He had a lot of room in the box, which has got a big question. But no, it's a good finish. Good cross as well from
I think
Anderton.
it was a problem for Wimbledon all afternoon, in just with his movement, and you can see that him and Sheringham are producing a prolific partnership now. The volley he had, again, he's played the ball into Sheringham's feet, made a run off of him, and Sheringham's found him with the next ball, and good volley, good save, and obviously that led to the goal. But I think his movement was the thing that caused Wimbledon problems all afternoon.
You needed an early strike at the start of the second half, Laurie. It didn't quite turn out like that. The goal came, well, in a way, too late in that second 45. You didn't it, the first one?
Yeah, it came after about 15, 20 minutes, I think, didn't it? As I say, if he hadn't scored the third goal, I mean, one goal back and it's all anybody's game. But you would get one back. Good flick from Fash. I think the first flick he won. Gerald Dobbs just controls it over the keeper. It is a good goal, that.
It's a great finish. Took it very well. And I think, as Laurie said, the thing about it was really Fash's first header that he'd won all afternoon.
That was surprising, wasn't it, in a way, because you expect more from John Fashanu, but Ruddock had him in his pocket, didn't he, in truth?
I think he relished the battle that he knew he was going to be in, and he's really he's outplayed him all afternoon, as we saw there, and that really was the battle that Tottenham had to win early. They did that, and they built their game from there.
Yeah, I agree with that. As I say, I mean, Ruddock's won that hands down, that battle. Important for us for Fash to win balls in the air. Ruddock's, that's the only ball I think he lost all afternoon.
Well, that's how important, isn't it? Because when he does that, if you can score off the bits and the pieces that come your way...
That's how we operate. I mean, we work off him up there. We knock balls up to him along. He wins balls, knocks balls down for other people. Other people get in and score, or he scores himself. Today, there's no contest, I'm afraid.
Barmby's was scored in injury time in the first half. Here comes Wimbledon's second. Steve Cottrell got this in injury time around about the 90th minute. Just too late, Laurie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just 10 minutes earlier. It's a great cross. Cottrell's got up well. Good save in the first place, but he's followed in well. He'll be pleased that he scored. I mean, as a forward, whether you know, although we've lost, it give him confidence in the next game that he plays.
I think it's really, I know it's the last seconds of the game, it's really the first time that Wimbledon have got crosses into the Tottenham 6-yard box, where Terry said earlier, they've pushed them out, they've kept them out of the box, they've left that space between Torsved and their back four, and Wimbledon's not got in an area where they were going to get knockdowns and chances to finish at goal.
Let's hear what Tottenham's Chief Executive Terry Venables had to say about it.
They made it close at the end, but how satisfying a victory is that for Spurs?
Very satisfying. It's one we've been looking forward to and hope we get the right result. I think it was one we really wanted today, so we're well pleased. We played well, I thought.
For 20 minutes at the start, it was quite a battle, and then you gradually took more and more control. Was that a plan all along, as it were?
We didn't want to get involved in the way they were playing because it's food and drink for them. If you start playing them at their own game, we wanted to try and knew it would be difficult to get the ball down and play. Keep getting it down and play, and that was the thing that we were pushing for and been working at, even when you're under pressure, because they reduce the field and reduce the spaces, so it's difficult to get that ball down to play and play to feet. But that's what we did, and it worked well for us.
Going from 1-0 to 3-0 in the closing stages of the first half, I mean, psychologically, that's about the perfect time to score, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, in that sort of situation, you don't want half-time, especially nowadays when it seems like forever. It's gone to 15 minutes, the half-time. And it's one where you really would want to keep going because you're really hot and you're really going well. And I felt that the break wouldn't do us any good. They went out determined again, we wanted to get that goal, but of course you knew that they were going to hit things even longer, put more men up, open to get the breaks, and they got a break or two. At the same time, that is why today there was a lot of offsides, because they want to get as near to your goal as they can. And if you let them get on top of your goal, anything can happen. That's why we've got to get out and give space between our back four and our goalkeeper.
Finally, Terry, briefly, how would you assess the impact that young players like Nick Barmby and Darren Anderton are now having at Spurs?
Well, they're doing now what we felt they would do, but they need experience, and people, find it hard to have the patience with young players. I understand that, but nevertheless, they're doing now, and I think people are understanding the value of Darren, and really Nick Barmby made an impact immediately when he started. I think he came on at Wimbledon. I think was his first time and scored a goal and lifted the whole team and played remarkably well then. And he's really had a dream start, but it's early days. He's a young lad, and there's lots in front, and it's exciting times for us. We feel because we felt our form would improve. It's no good saying it, but we did feel so, and now we're beginning to get the results we deserve in a good manner of which we're playing as well, the style of football we're playing.
Terry, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Pleased enough, wasn't he? And he's got a right to be. 3-2 to Spurs then in our live match. We'll take another break, coming back in a moment or so with all of yesterday's goals. Welcome back. Time for a quick word with Joe Kinnear, the Wimbledon boss. Here he is.
Joe, you said to me at half-time you were disappointed with the way Wimbledon had marked in the first half, but were you pleased with your team's second-half performance?
Well, I always felt that if we'd have stayed in there at 1-0, then we'd always have an opportunity to score goals. What we have been doing well of late is defending well. And we didn't defend. The 2 goals just before half-time killed us. And you can't give a side a 3-goal lead like Tottenham and expect to come out on top.
Before the game, there was a bit of cat and mouse between the two clubs over the ghetto blaster in the Wimbledon dressing room. You won that encounter. How important was it to actually win that psychological war?
Well, not really. We don't really look into it. I don't even know what the fuss was all about. We were more or less just concentrating on getting through the next round. But it wasn't to be. I don't think we've played better in previous weeks. We didn't do ourselves justice today. But good luck to Tottenham. I thought they played some good football. But as I said before, if we could have got through the first half with just a goal behind, then I've always feel that we've got a chance of scoring against Tottenham. We've pushed it all the way in the second half. We've had to leave people 1 for 1 at the back. We went for it, and it didn't work out. But fair play to Tottenham. I thought they played very well. Took the goals extremely well, and good luck to them.
Well, Joe, we wish you luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done, Joe. That's the Wimbledon boss. This is what they're saying outside the ground.
Pretty pleased with the first half performance. I think it was well worth the 3-0 lead at half-time. Came out a bit complacent in the second half, I thought. But at the end of the day, pleased with the result. Should have been probably a 5-goal difference.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a very good performance. That first half, they went in 3-0. Should have come out. Should have been able to do the same thing in the second half. They seemed to tear Wimbledon apart, be able to get behind their defence at will. Should have been about 5 goals, possibly 6.
First half, I thought we played really well. Second half, we played as well, letting a couple of silly goals, but I think we're going to go all the way this year.
Yeah, I think they played very well in the first half, but the second half they let things go a bit. The goalkeeper particularly, I think, was at fault for both goals.
Not too bad. Could have done better. I think, you know, we're outclassed really. I think those 2 goals were fluky. But, yeah, it could have been worse. 3-2's not that embarrassing.
I agree with that. We looked tired and we didn't play as well as we could have done. We played better in the last couple of weeks and it was just disappointing today.
I've seen us play a lot better. I thought it was 3 really silly goals and quite honestly, I don't think we were in it at all. I thought 3-2 flattered us, quite honestly. Very disappointed.
And there were plenty of goals this weekend. 5 today. Here come all of yesterday's. And with the 5 that we saw today at White Hart Lane, you're right up to date. A couple in amongst those for Ian Wright, Clive. If he doesn't make the match against San Marino, how much will England miss him, do you think?
Well, the form he's in, I think he'll be sadly missed because it really is how many goals we're going to get, not whether we win or not, but how many will we get, and we need as many as we can. And with Wright in that sort of form, spectacular goals, it's just what we need on Wednesday.
If he doesn't play, it's beginning to look, with Alan Smith out, it's beginning to look as though Les Ferdinand might, Laurie. What do you think Les Ferdinand would do on the international scene?
Good game to come in for against San Marino. I mean, likely to score a few, actually. I think Les will be up to it if he's picked. I'm sure he will be. Just say it's not a hard game in the fact playing Holland or someone.
He's a big, powerful striker, isn't he?
Yeah, he scores goals. I mean, I think there'll be plenty of goals on show on Wednesday night, or hopefully.
I think that's his greatest strength in the air there. When balls are knocked across the goal there, and you see his strength, his power in the air, and that will be the biggest threat for San Marino should he play. You know,
but
there'll
you
be
want a
chances.
Lineker or a Wright or an Allen, a little. I mean, is there anybody else that might come to mind? Do you think that?
I'd love to play.
Like
with
Ian
one
Wright
leg.
with one leg, yeah. But unavailable. Is there anything else?
I think really the type of game it is, obviously, if there was someone who's in form, who's a natural goal scorer, a poacher, who can get in there and nick one or two that would set us rolling and get the goals going in. That's really what we're looking for. Mickey Quinn's in that form, so possible.
It's an interesting shout. Mickey Quinn, maybe. Clive Allen, thank you very much for joining us. Laurie Sanchez, great to see you. Didn't quite go Wimbledon's way, but thanks for coming nonetheless. Tonight, 6:30, FA Cup 6th round draw, live here on Sky Sports. Must come back for that. And a Monday Night Football Extra this coming Wednesday, 7 o'clock, England against San Marino. The home of football, Sky Sports. 6:30 we're back with the FA Cup quarter-final draw live. See you then. Bye-bye for now.
And as the players walk out on this hallowed turf, Merson! Merson! Oh, what a haircut!
I think you did awfully well.
White's Hotel in the West End of London, where one of the big events on the football calendar is about to unfold. It's in these luxurious surroundings that we're going to make the draw for the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. 8 teams, and it is only 8 for the first time since 1984. There are no replays. It's behind this door, the Oak Room, where this draw is about to be made. In charge of proceedings, as usual, Graham Kelly, the Football Association's Chief Executive, Sir Bert Millichip there, and Mr Gordon McKay. And that's where we're going in a minute or two. Before that, let's say good evening to our guests. Mark Bright, the Sheffield Wednesday striker, whose side are through. Paul Allen, whose Tottenham team beat Wimbledon this afternoon. And at the far end, our own Andy Gray. Gentlemen, welcome all. Very well done, Paul. Spurs were up for that this afternoon, weren't they?
Yes, that's right. I think we've prepared very well. We knew that we couldn't be intimidated, and we had to play with a lot of movement, which we did very well today.
1-0 with about 40 minutes on the clock, and then 2 vital goals in 5 minutes before half-time. That was just what you needed, wasn't it?
Well, I think just going at half-time 3-0 up was fantastic for us, and we really built on that, which was disappointing, but I thought that it was a convincing 3-2 victory.
Mark Bright's watching at the moment, as Paul Warhurst scores all sorts of goals and keeps Wednesday going, Mark.
Yeah.
And this is a centre-half. It's some record, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's slotted in there, and he's just scoring like a striker, and he's really carried us.
enjoy it this afternoon, Andy?
I just wonder if he's any good at centre-back. They were swapping positions. Yeah, I thought Tottenham were excellent, especially from the first goal to half-time. I thought they gave a fabulous performance of passing and moving the ball. And Paul's right, going in at 3-0 up, I thought the game was over. And the scoreline at the end slightly flattered Wimbledon, in all fairness. I thought they ran out worthy winners.
Well, we'll have a look at today's action in a moment or so, but first of all, this is what happened yesterday in the FA Cup. Six cleanly through yesterday, 2 matches today at Bramall Lane and White Hart Lane, and this is what happened.
Could drop Barmby's way, it does. Howell's going in! Darren Anderton takes the salute. Corner to Tottenham. Oh, Barmby! Oh my word! It gets better and better and better. Tottenham have been telling us we've got some good youngsters. You're right. But here's Dobbs, one of the youngsters for Wimbledon. It's 3-1. Holdsworth hoping for a corner. That's Cotterill has forced it in. 3-2, Steve Cotterill.
Giggs, oh, he scored! Ryan Giggs, great finish, and Manchester United have the lead. This one goes in and it's a goal! Sheffield United are level, and the man who's put it in is Jamie Hoyland. Ward in there, strutting around dangerously. Parker got it away. This direct style of Sheffield United has paid off again with a goal from Glyn Hodges. Ince trying to find a way through. Irwin playing the 1-2. Is that a penalty kick? It is. The penalty is given. Ward was the culprit. Steve Bruce will take it. He's already scored a couple of penalties this year, but he did have one big miss, which cost Manchester United in Europe. Bruce, he's hit the post! Oh my goodness me, what agony for the Manchester United captain.
Poor old Steve Bruce will live that moment time and again, but many congratulations to Sheffield United on a job very well done. Mark, 2 Sheffield clubs in the hat for the first time, I think, since 1961. Would you fancy Sheffield United next?
I think there'd be a lot of interest in the tie if it was, but it's a passionate city about football. I didn't really realise when I went there, and there'll be a lot of interest now that everyone's into the quarter-finals.
I mean, that was a terrific result for Sheffield United today, wasn't it? A goal down,
especially getting a goal down. Yeah, especially, and they showed great character and superb support off the supporters.
We'll make that draw for the quarter-finals in a moment or so. These are the important numbers. Just 8 teams. 1, Tottenham Hotspur. 2, Manchester City. 3, Blackburn Rovers. 4, Sheffield Wednesday. 5, Sheffield United. 6, Derby County. 7, Arsenal. 8, Ipswich Town. The Sheffield United manager, Dave Bassett, is waiting to talk to us. Dave, good evening to you.
Good evening, Richard.
Very well done, my friend.
Thank you very much.
What an afternoon for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an eventful game. It was a good game, and the boys showed lots of perseverance and got back into the game, and I felt that we deserved to win it in the end.
Have to confess, Dave, at 1 goal down, I think 1 or 2 of us were thinking you were maybe on your way out, but you dug in and deserved what you got at the end of the day.
That's right. We're always dangerous when we're 1-0 down.
And how does it feel to be thinking about the quarter-finals?
Well, we were in the quarter-finals 3 years ago, so we haven't done bad in the time I've been here. 2 quarter-finals. I lost with Wimbledon in the quarter-finals, so I've never been beyond that. So it'd be a nice ambition to get through. But I'm not taking anything for granted. We thought we was going to go to Wembley when we lost at Chelsea last year. We're just delighted to be through to the last day after beating a fine Manchester United side.
Well, Mark Bright is sitting here, Dave. I don't know if you just heard him say he quite fancies Sheffield United in the quarter-finals. What do you think?
Well, we don't mind. We love playing Sheffield Wednesday.
Because that was quite a match we saw, wasn't it, a little earlier in the season, the Sheffield derby?
Yeah, there's a great passion in the city. They're wonderful football people, and they deserve every credit they've got. I mean, it's all been about Manchester and Liverpool and London over the years. It wouldn't hurt Sheffield to have a look at credit because they've got a lot of support.
He's injured at the moment, but I think he'd fancy getting in shape for that one. Would that be right, Mark?
Yeah, hopefully I'm starting training this week, so aiming for this weekend's game.
OK, well, Dave, will you stay where you are?
Certainly.
We'll come back to you and have words in a moment or so. Paul Allen of Tottenham is with us as well. Who do you fancy, Paul?
I think without stating the obvious, I think a home draw would be nice for us, the way things are going at the moment. We're playing with a lot of confidence.
Arsenal?
Yeah, it would be nice.
No, it wouldn't. Well, here we go then. One of the big moments, as we said, on the football calendar. Let's make the draw for the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. The FA's chief executive, Graham Kelly, is waiting to speak to us. Graham, good evening to you.
Hello, Richard. Good evening.
This is extraordinary, isn't it? 8 teams, no replays. It's not often this happens, is it?
No, it's all very tidy, but no giant killers are there. So it's tidy, but no giant killers.
Enjoying the hospitality again down there?
Yes, they're looking after us reasonably well, thanks, yes.
OK, Graham, we'll let you get on with it.
OK, fine. Well, here we go with the draw for the 6th round of the FA Challenge Cup. The home teams will be drawn by Mr Gordon McKeague, the chairman of the Challenge Cup Committee, and the away teams by Sir Bert Millerchip, the chairman of the Football Association.
Number 6.
Derby County.
Number 4.
We'll play Sheffield Wednesday.
Number 2.
Manchester City.
Number 1.
We'll play Tottenham Hotspur.
Number 8.
Ipswich Town.
Number 7.
We'll play Arsenal.
And number 3.
Blackburn Rovers.
Finally, number 5.
We'll play Sheffield United. That concludes the draw. The ties will be played on the weekend of March the 6th, 7th and 8th. And now back to you in the studio, Richard.
Graham, thanks very much indeed. Short and sweet. Derby, Sheffield Wednesday, Manchester City and Tottenham, Ipswich and Arsenal, Blackburn Rovers and Sheffield United. We'll come back in a moment or so, have a look at that, talk to 1 or 2 of the individuals who'll be involved. We've got plenty to come between now and 7 o'clock. Sheffield United. Our guests, Mark Bright, the Sheffield Wednesday striker. Tottenham's Paul Allen is with us. And at the far end there, our own Andy Gray. Waiting to talk to us on the phone once again is the Sheffield United manager Dave Bassett. Dave, how's that then?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I thought we'd be away. I didn't expect us to be at home. They're all going to be difficult games. They're all Premier League sides. And, you know, if you're going to get to Wembley, you've got to beat decent sides. So, it's OK. I'm satisfied.
And we've still got the possibility of an all-Sheffield semi-final and an all-London semi-final, haven't we?
Yeah, anything's possible. You know, on the day, it depends what teams does what, and, you know, I'm concerned with Sheffield United doing well. We played at Blackburn this year, we didn't play too badly there. It's up to us what we do on the day. You know, I'm confident and I'm always optimistic. You never know. But, as I say, I was at home in the last two quarter-finals and we lost both of them, so you never know.
Well, don't go away, Dave. We've got Tim Sherwood on the line as well. Tim, good evening to you.
Good evening, Richard.
Home draw, which is what everybody says they want.
Yeah, we was praying to come out of the hat first, and that's what we've done. You know, we played Sheffield earlier on in the season, and they was a bit unfortunate not to get a result at Blackburn. But, you know, cup football's completely different, and we just keep our fingers crossed.
As they proved today, Tim, beating Manchester United, that was some result, wasn't it?
Yeah, I watched the game. It was outstanding, especially Glenn Hodges. I thought he had an excellent game.
Well, Dave's on the phone, and he's listening to us. Have you got a message for him, Tim?
Well, I've got a lot of respect for Dave. You know, I played with him. He was the manager of Watford when he gave me my chance in the first team, and I'm looking forward to meeting him again.
But you're going to beat him?
Quietly confident.
Dave, you've heard it there. A lot of respect for you, but looking forward to giving you a good seeing to.
That's right. Well, Timmy's a good player. When I took over at Watford, he was in the reserves, and he was probably the only right decision I made at Watford in 6 months. But he was a good player, and he did well, and I'm delighted for him that he's progressed and turned into the player we all thought he would be.
Dave, thanks very much. Great to talk to you. Tim Sherwood, are you still with us, Tim?
Yeah.
Blackburn, back on the road. I mean, great result for you, wasn't it, over Newcastle United?
It was brilliant, yeah. It was just the right time to score for us. Roy Wegley produced a bit of magic at the end for us, and we're well pleased. You know, we got a bit of a hiding in the week against Sheffield Wednesday, but even though that tie is still not over yet, we've got to go back up to Hillsborough, and we fancy our chances against anyone.
Tim, thanks very much for joining us. Nice to talk to you. Paul Allen, Manchester City. Gray napped it, didn't he? Gray said Manchester City. That's exactly what happened. Can you believe that?
Well, it's a tough game, but one I think that we go there with respect, but knowing that we've had results there in the past, so I think we go there quietly confident.
Beat them, of course, in the final. When was that now?
81.
All the way back. Well, thank you. 1981. It's the year of the cockerel. Are you superstitious?
Well, it would be, like Dave said, I think there's no easy pickings now. It's going to be a tough game, but one we look forward to.
Mark Bright, we've heard what Tim Sherwood said about that League Cup semi-final. There's plenty of mileage in that one yet.
Yeah.
Now, what about this? Derby County away from home.
Yeah, I think ideally everyone wants to be drawn at home, but with all respect to Derby, they're the only non-Premier League side left in the tie. They've just started to pick up results, and I shouldn't imagine we'd be too disappointed with that, actually.
Martin Cool's with us on the other end of the phone. Martin, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Sheffield Wednesday, at home. What do you make of it?
It's a very tough tie. I think they're a very good footballing team, and I think the whole of Derby's looking forward to it.
I mean, there'll be some atmosphere there at the baseball ground, won't there?
Every game at the moment at the baseball ground's a great atmosphere. I think this will be a sellout, and I think looking at the draw, it's an exciting draw, and I think we've got a very good game, and we've got a good chance of going through.
Everybody wants a home draw, Martin, but I don't have to remind you that your home form this season hasn't been great, has it?
No, I'm not sure if we want away or a home draw. You know, I think everyone's trying to talk us into away draws, but a home draw is a great draw for us for money pulling, you know. But I say, looking at a draw, I think with the 8 teams left now, I don't care if we're home or away, we're still in the draw, and it's up to us.
Can you start to see the Wembley Towers?
Well, not from here, no, not in Derby, no. But I'm not being funny, but I mean, at the moment you've got to fancy yourself because there's 8 teams in it, and it's a very exciting draw, like I say. And if you win this, you're in the semis, and then you're 1 game away from Wembley. So we've got to fancy our chances, home or away.
Martin, Mark Bright won't mind me wishing you all the best. Nice to talk to you.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks very much. John Walk. John, good evening to you.
You all right?
We're very well. We're very well, John. Arsenal at home.
Yeah, very pleased. Yeah, we're home tie, you know, and as I say, they battered us at their place this season in the league, but hopefully our home advantage should tell.
Well, speaking of batterings, you had one out yourselves yesterday, didn't you? A very comprehensive win.
Yeah, especially second half. First half took us a while to get going, but second half we played some good football and we ended up good winners, actually.
John Andy Gray's sitting here listening.
Is he all right?
Okay.
How are you, mate?
You'll have to do it this year. You're running out of years, aren't you?
I know. As I say, if we beat Arsenal, we must have a great chance, so this is a big tie for us.
You'd be much happier that it was drawn Ipswich Arsenal rather than the other way around, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, as I say, we played them, you know, this season, and they actually gave us a hammering, but we ended up getting a draw. But hopefully, as I said, the home advantage should tell.
Oh, all the best, pal.
Cheers, mate.
It's been quite a season so far, John, hasn't it? Whatever happens.
Yeah, everything's, been brilliant for us, you know. We're 4th in the league, and as I say, we got knocked out at the quarter-finals of the Coca-Cola, but nobody would have expected that at the beginning of the season.
Well, great to talk to you.
Cheers,
Keep it
mate.
going.
Ta-ra.
Well done, mate. What do you think of the draw, Andy? I mean, it's Nice one, isn't it?
I think it's an absolutely cracking draw. I don't think there's... Well, you wouldn't expect a bad tie, but I think the way it's been drawn out, I think Derby being drawn at home against Sheffield Wednesday, I think there's something about that now. Had it been the other way around, then people may have...
Yeah, there's still an element of
Sheffield.
risk about it, isn't there? You would forgive us saying that, Mark, I'm sure. But
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, Mark mentioned their home form, and quite rightly, Derby's home form has been poor this year, but it's noticeable that in recent weeks they have picked up 2 consecutive home wins, and quite comprehensive, suggest that they're getting back on the rails. The Ipswich game, as I mentioned, being drawn that way around, it's fascinating, and I think I feel a bit sorry for Paul here, because I mentioned before the show to him there were a couple of teams you'd want to stay away from. Man City and Spurs would have been 2 of them, 2 form sides, and I thought they might get drawn together. I actually thought it might be the other way around for Paul's sake, but it wasn't. That's a cracking tie, and of course Blackburn know they've got it all to do against Sheffield United. It's a great draw.
Arsenal, like Sheffield Wednesday, like Blackburn Rovers, are chasing Wembley on 2 fronts. Their goalkeeper, David Seaman, is with us. David, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, how are you now? I mean, again, you'd have preferred the home tie, wouldn't you? This is a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. We had a tough game with them earlier in the season, you know, but we're looking forward to it. I don't think it's that important about being at home.
You don't?
No, not really, no. I've got to now.
No, I thought you might say that now. But they make life tough for anybody, home or away. Ipswich Town, they've had quite a season, as we just said to John Walk, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right. You know, like I said earlier on, we had a great game with them at our place, and although it was 0-0, you know, there was quite a few chances, but it's going to be tough, and we're just looking forward to it. You know, we seem to bring the best out of ourselves in the cup at the moment, you know, so we're looking forward to it.
I mean, realistically, maybe the Premier League slipped away, David, but there's Wembley on 2 fronts still, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, it's a shame about the league, but, you know, we're really looking forward to it.
You'll take a cup medal.
Hopefully.
David, thanks very much. Nice to talk to you. The draw, once again, this is how it came out of the hat, live here on Sky Sports about 10 minutes ago. Derby County against Sheffield Wednesday, Manchester City against Tottenham, Ipswich Town against Arsenal, Blackburn Rovers against Sheffield United. The very latest betting looks like this. Arsenal, 3-1 favourites. Sheffield Wednesday at 4-1, Manchester City 5-1, Spurs at 11-2, Blackburn Rovers and Ipswich Town at 6-1, Sheffield United and Derby County 14-1. You're not too sure about that, Andy?
Well, I mean, it shows you how close the whole thing is. I mean, there's, what, 4-1 and 6-1 separating 6 teams, and only Derby and Sheffield United, regarded as far as the bookmakers are concerned, as outsiders. And I think that shows you that it's going to be very, very difficult to predict the winners of this. I think that's what's fascinating about the last 8 this year round. 7 Premier League clubs does suggest that it's going to be very, very tight.
It was Ian Wright that fired Arsenal into the quarter-finals. You spent the afternoon with him today. How is Ian Wright, Mark?
He's joined up with the England squad. He said he's obviously got the pain still in his leg, but he wants to join up. And if there's any chance of him playing, he'll play. I know him.
Well, he told us that yesterday. He'd go and play with one leg if he had to.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to join up as well, and he knows the San Marino game could be the game that he breaks his duck. And it'd be a great shame if he does miss it, but if there's a slight chance of him playing, I think he'll play.
So he's reporting, fingers crossed. We've all got fingers crossed. Good to see you. How close are you?
Yeah, starting training tomorrow, and hopefully make my comeback game against my old side, Crystal Palace.
If selected. Good to see you. Paul Allen, thanks very much for coming in. Good day for Spurs and yourself. Very well done, mate. Andy, thank you for your help.
Welcome, pal.
Coming up on Sky Sports, FA Cup 5th round highlights at 11 o'clock tonight. If you've missed any of the day's action, then you must join us at 11 this evening. Don't forget, we've got the England-San Marino match coming up live on Wednesday. 7 o'clock we start that from World Cup qualifying Group 2. England-San Marino live here on Sky Sports. Hope you've enjoyed it all. This really is the home of football, isn't it? Until the next time, from all of us here, Mark, Paul Allen, Andy Gray and myself, thanks for your company. See you next time round.
As the players walk out on this hallowed turf. Merson! Merson! Oh, what a haircut!
I think you did awfully well. Here you are.